What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of GG Gaming. We skipped last week, sorry about that, but today I am accompanied by PapaGenos.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, we didn't record last week because no one was available to record, and I figured, I don't know if I just want to talk by myself. I figured, you know, quality over consistency, maybe? I don't know, unless people really care to just have me talk by myself, but I don't know. But anyway, so we have PapaGenos today, but we don't have Alpha. He records at his church, and he showed up at his church to record tonight, and they're having a meeting in the room that he usually records in, so it was a last minute he couldn't, and he mentioned something about getting new, better internet, so he'll be able to, starting next week, record from home, I guess, so that's awesome. And I didn't hear from Ryan, but that's okay, I know he's been busy. So, it's been 2 weeks since our last recording with EV Septile, and PapaGenos, unfortunately, missed out on that, but we probably have there's probably a lot for you to say, because you haven't been on in a while.
Yeah. No,
so what have you been up to, if you want
to
take the reins for what you've been up to?
Sure. I guess the big news today, the thing that's been on my mind, is the Google announced its
oh yeah,
throwing its hat in the ring here with yesterday I was thinking they were going to announce like a console or something, but it seems to be a streaming service and a controller, and I'm still a little unclear exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But that was like the big thing that's been on my mind is that conference.
Yeah, I hadn't actually seen the conference or videos on it because I was busy with working. However, I was listening to a Game Explained discussion of it a little while ago, so I only know what they had spoken about. So it does sound kind of odd, like an odd gaming system. And one of the things they mentioned, and I have to make sure to say they mentioned because I hadn't seen it and I don't want to take anything that they said and like treat it as my own if it's like an opinion or something, but it sounded like something they said was that they had started off the conference mentioning something along the lines of "we're not gamers," and
yes,
it's like, are you serious? Are you? You basically just shot yourself in the foot there.
That was like the first thing the guy who came out said. He came out and said, "I'm not a gamer." And
it's like, that was
definitely like not a great way to start that conference.
That's like that's like hiring a new director for a movie, and he's like, "I'm not a director," and it's like, well, why would you say that?
Yeah, I never watch movies. I don't really watch movies, but then he kind of went on and he announced someone else and said like, well, this guy does know the difference. It was this really weird line. He was like, he does know the difference between RPGs and NPCs, and I was like,
that's.
Ugh, it was cringy.
It's like, he does know the difference between apples and bread.
Yeah, exactly. Like
what?
I don't eat food, but this guy does. He knows the difference between apples and bread. Like it was very
it's like apples and bread.
The whole conference did have a kind of air of trying to, like, we're gamers now, but like, man, I don't know if you guys really get it.
Like, yeah, and apparently apparently they're gonna still like have a lot of your data or information or something like that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It doesn't sound like a gaming system. It sounds like just mobile gaming on your TV. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think what it's probably gonna try to do, from my understanding of it, which was only watching the conference once and then thinking about it, I really haven't looked stuff up. It seems like I don't think they're really trying to compete with like Xbox and PlayStation and Switch. I think they're trying to create like a streaming service that's part of like YouTube and Google, the whole Google thing. And it's going to be a gaming streaming service, and it's probably going to compete more with people who do play games on their iPad and phones and stuff. That seemed like the big deal was that you can play, the good games, like, the games that are on consoles, but now you can play them on any device and stream it, and it's just going to be all connected with YouTube and stuff. It was kind of unclear exactly what they're doing with it, but
I'm wondering
what it was. However, they also seemed to say that you needed really good, they didn't say this, but it seemed like implied, like that in order to stream these games, you would need really, really good internet. Because I think even in their conference, like they showed the game and it had like you could tell it had input lag, and it was like, ugh, like I don't know. That was rough. Good. And then also they're streaming this conference thing, and the stream was glitchy at a couple points. And it's, when you're advertising a streaming service and you're streaming it and it glitches, not a good time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
There is a benefit I can think of, and that's for people who don't do PC gaming and do usually exclusively console gaming. This may offer them a chance to play games that are usually exclusively through Steam, not Stream, or whatever. It's Steam games.
Yeah, I could see this competing against Steam. I could see this competing against Steam.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's not that I want it to fail or anything. It's just that it doesn't sound like it's going to succeed based on what we hear so far. I mean, it's probably still in the early stages. I really don't know much about it. It very well could compete with the big systems. We have no idea, but it doesn't really sound like it. So,
yeah, my understanding, again, I left watching the video still a little confused at exactly what they're going for. So I think it's really yet to be seen if this thing comes out. What exactly it does. Does everybody who's doing gaming on YouTube start using this to do streaming? Does it like kill maybe like Twitch? Or I mean, I don't think Twitch is going to die to this, but like, is that what it's competing against, other streaming services? Is it competing with like mobile games and trying to get like your really casual crowd to play more intensive games because now you can stream? Like, I really don't know. I think it's yet to be seen, and maybe the whole thing just doesn't even work out and people don't like it. It kind of has to come out and just see what happens with it. But I will say, just from the conference, it seems like maybe they don't even know exactly what they're going for or what little niche this does, besides the fact that it's now connected to Google and YouTube, and I think they just want a piece of that gaming pie, but I'm not sure if they know exactly how to get it. So,
well, if you hear a lot of moving around, that's because I'm sitting on the floor in the closet and I'm trying to get comfortable. So.
Oh, good. I have a squeaky chair sometimes, so I'm
trapped in the closet. Trapped in the closet. Trapped in the closet, doing my podcast. GG gaming in the closet.
I didn't really watch the actual song.
Neither did I. I just know Trapped in the Closet. The only thing I know about Trapped in the Closet is from South Park.
Yeah, exactly. I know from South Park.
Tom Cruise in my closet.
I've seen clips of it, and I've probably watched a song or two in my day, but I was never really watching it.
Exactly. Have you played anything else, or have you played anything this past?
Yeah. So, ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove came out. It's like a downloadable game at this point. I know it's going to get a physical release eventually, but that's pretty much been the new game that I really like. It's a huge throwback to old school ToeJam and Earl, but It's really fun. I love those type of games. So.
Is it a sequel?
Yeah, so there was like ToeJam and Earl 1, and then there was 2, which became like a side scroller, because for whatever reason, back in the day, the sequel to every game is always way different. Like Mario 2 is way different, Zelda 2 is way different. Well, ToeJam and Earl falls right in there. The second one's way different. And then there was ToeJam and Earl 3 on the original Xbox, which was more like the original one. And now this one's even more like the original one. It has, it's like a drawing look, kind of like, almost looks like paper, like where the characters are flat but stood up in like a 3D environment. But it plays like the original. I really like it. So,
was it the fourth one?
Fourth one, yeah. Technically, it's the fourth one.
I don't know which one I played. But I played one on some, I think it was like some kind of rental service at one point back in the day, and on the Sega Genesis. And I don't know if it was from the beginning or if it was from a certain point during the game, but I had no idea what was going on. I didn't understand anything.
It was probably the first one, because the first one's very, like, you just kind of get jumped into the game and you just gotta figure it out.
Being like floating land masses that were layered on top of each other. I had no idea what I was doing, and so I immediately did not like it because I just didn't know what was happening.
As a kid, I remember playing it, and I didn't really like it that much because every item you pick up is a present, and you don't know what's in the present, and you have to spend money to certain characters to figure out what's in the presents or just randomly use them, but you can't tell like what enemies were good and what enemies were bad. So I was very confused and kind of turned off by the game until I think my uncle started playing it and he kind of figured it out. And then it's a 2-player game, so I kind of learned it through that. But I could totally see the game, especially for the age I was at when that game came out, which was probably like 6 or 7 years old. You know, would have totally turned me off if I didn't have that older person figure the game out for me.
But what do you do in the game? Like, what were you supposed to do? I don't.
So
I just remember walking around.
Yeah, your alien's trapped on Earth, and you have to. And this is the same as the new ones like this too. Your alien's trapped on Earth, and I think that's why Earth is so. In the new one, like Earth has got sucked into a black hole, and that's why it's like floating land masses. But I think in the original, it's just supposed to be like. This is from the alien's perspective, so Earth is just weird looking. But like you're supposed to try to find the pieces of your ship, and once you get all the pieces of your ship, you can fly home. And there's not a piece of your ship on every level though, so you have to find an elevator. You get an elevator, and it brings you to the next level. And I don't know if the original, I kind of forget if the original announces whether or not there's a ship piece on the level, but the new one does. So let's say you go up to level 2 after the first level, and then it doesn't announce anything. Then you just have to find the elevator. You get an elevator, you go up to level 3, and then once you get on level 3, it says there's a ship piece on this level, and you have to find the ship piece, then the elevator.
How do you find a ship piece?
Hmm?
How do you find the ship pieces?
They're just like on the map. They're just like a collectible.
Oh.
And then on the map, usually, at least in the new one, I haven't played the original in so long, so I'm going more off of the new one. Like the map itself is covered. Like there's a map you can look at, but as you walk around, or if you answer telephones, it unlocks more of the map, and you can either see like where the elevator might be or where the ship piece might be. And there's like hidden paths, and enemies are trying to kill you, so you're just trying to explore around to get that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. I like it.
On my end, I picked up Devil May Cry 5 and beat that,
nice.
And it was so cool. Oh,
I haven't played it yet. My PS4 is still being borrowed.
So I didn't know this until like a few days before the game came out, that they changed up the timeline of the games.
Oh, really?
Because at the time when Devil May Cry 4 came out, and an art book came out, and the timeline that it confirmed was 3, 1, 4, 2.
Okay.
And so recently they changed it to be 3, 1, 2, 4. So they basically swapped 4 and 2 around.
Okay. Okay.
So, I mean, it makes more sense for somebody jumping into it because it just goes in numerical order, except 3 is the prequel. But, and it doesn't really mess with anything too badly. It's just that extra events happen between 4 and 5. Or no, sorry, between 1 and 4.
Uh-huh.
But, kind of begs the question of why it happened.
Yeah, I wonder. So, did you notice? I haven't played 5 yet. Did you notice anything in the storyline for 5 that would maybe point to why they switched it?
I was trying to think about it, and I didn't see anything. And the only things I could really think about is Dante deciding to slowly over time grow out a beard, because in 4 he has some stubble.
Maybe that's the only reason why they did it.
So it's like, otherwise he would have shaved it and then decided to grow it out again a bit more. But,
yeah.
It just seems like he has a bit more facial hair over time. And
maybe that's all it was. Maybe they were just like, it would be really cool if you could tell what game it was by how much, like, or what time or what place the game was in the timeline, by how much facial hair he has. Can you switch these two around? Yeah, sure, why not?
Although I will say that the game itself has a time jump, like in the very beginning. Like the very beginning of the game, an event happens, and then it like jumps a month in advance. And so that might be the reason why Dante has a lot of facial hair.
Okay. So it might literally have happened in 5 alone.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking of, but then realized wasn't the case, was if you remember in 4, and I guess the game's been out long enough for this not to really be much of a spoiler.
Yeah, I think you talk about Devil May Cry games like we did with Resident Evil. I don't think it's... Yeah,
with Trish being Gloria, so she disappeared in order to infiltrate the Order of the Sword as Gloria. I kind of assumed maybe they put 2 before it because Trish wasn't in 2. But then I realized that she went to the Order of the Sword, like, immediately before the events of 4. It was like during the conversation in the beginning, from Dante's perspective. It was like Lady was telling Dante and Trish about the Order of the Sword, and then she left. So it's like, oh, so never mind, that doesn't work. Because, like, I know you could be Trish in 2 as, like, a bonus character you can unlock, but
yeah,
but she's not officially in the story of the game. So I still can't figure out why they would decide to change it, other than maybe the style of the facial hair, and I don't know. Maybe he looks a little bit older in 4 than 2, because 2 he's a little more anime.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the way that they used to portray Dante was definitely more of that traditional Japanese, like, young teen anime protagonist look, and now he looks more, I would say he's like a mix between the, like, Western gritty protagonist character and the Eastern, like, anime teen guy.
He's kind of becoming a fusion.
Yeah, but I like, actually, it's surprisingly unique.
I still think I prefer the faces from 4, because that anime-esque style was so sewed into Devil May Cry, and the realistic faces also have kind of an uncanny valley. And I know we spoke about this once before, so it does kind of sometimes border on being awesome and awkward in, like, almost instantaneously. Because if you're going for that realistic face, then every once in a while words don't sync up with the lips, and it kind of throws it off, because I don't know if they're recording it in English first or what. I don't know, but sometimes it throws me off a bit. I
could see that happening. I haven't played this one specifically, but I have seen that happen in other games that try to go very realistic looking. And Dante in my head is just, he's like an anime guy, like,
exactly.
That's how I grew up with him.
So, I mean, there's some stuff I can't talk about without spoiling it, so I won't. But I will say that I feel like they were trying to do stuff with certain bosses, like they were maybe building them up to be, like, have just a little bit more of an important role, and then kind of just tossed it away. Like, early on in the game, there's a character who states some kind of motive to, like, another character, and I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to spoil anything. But there's, like, a character that's a boss later on, who's talking to another character that's a boss early on. And you're like, whoa, who is this character? And the character is explaining how it's like, oh, we gotta find this thing, and blah, blah, blah. And then, that character winds up disappearing, and then you stay behind and fight the one that the character was talking to. And then you kind of go through more of the game, and you're wondering, well, what happened to that character? And then you kind of fight them towards the end, and they had no significant role whatsoever.
Oh, weird.
And I was just like, that was very awkward. Like, I guess I can understand, the idea of, like, random demons aiming for the same thing that the main demon is aiming for, because the purpose of, and I think they explain this anyway in trailers or early material, because obviously there's a giant tree that sprouted in the city, but basically there's something with that tree that all the demons are pretty much fighting over. So it kind of makes sense to throw in somewhat powerful demons to just, like, they want to fight over that. But
so, yeah, they don't need, like, a huge motivation. Like,
yeah, because it's like the tree itself and its purpose is their motivation. But the awkward thing was this boss kind of mentioned the Sparta sword instead of the tree and its thing. So it's like, okay, maybe this.
So you thought there was some other storyline that was going to pop up or something?
Motive or something else is going to happen. And it's like that just never came to fruition. It was like, oh, okay. So, like, I was kind of expecting something because of, like, that dialogue that had happened early in the game, that towards the end of the game, when you see that demon and their boss, you're kind of like, oh, are they gonna say the thing about, like, the Sparta sword, because, like, it had been in the story at that point, like, between the boss's appearance and this fight, and it's like nothing gets mentioned whatsoever, and then you defeat them because they're a boss, and it's like, that's it. And I was like, oh, what? That was anticlimactic.
All right.
So that was, like, that was one of the disappointment. I mean, the game is great. I'm just trying to pick at things that, kind of annoyed me a little bit. Because, it's not perfect, but it's still, like, a freaking awesome game. It's, like, really cool. But, I also couldn't wrap my head around, the dodging, because I don't remember 1, 2, 3, and 4, but, and it had definitely been a while, but I also feel like I didn't have nearly as much trouble dodging in those games as I did in this one. Do you remember if you were able to dodge backwards or forwards in the older games?
I feel like, I mean, Devil May Cry always, the thing that I liked about it was the like controls and the fighting was really intuitive. And I feel like you could dodge in different directions because it was the dodging was so awkward in this one. You can only dodge left and right. So when you're locked onto an enemy, if you want to dodge backwards, he jumps at kind of backwards a bit. So you get hit because you're not dodging. And the same thing with forward. Gotcha.
And because...
Did you do like a backflip like Link kind of thing or something?
Yeah, not even a backflip. It's just like a normal jump, except kind of goes back a bit, just like floats backwards a bit because you're holding back. And it's like you mean to dodge, but you jump instead. And because when you're locked on, the camera's not always behind your back, it throws you off in which direction you want to dodge.
Oh, yeah, I could see. I see what you're saying.
So, and then another thing that annoys me is when you lock on, you can switch between. You can switch between targets by pressing, I think, L3, but you can't switch between targets while you're walking. So you kind of have to stand in place and switch your target, which is really awkward in the heat of battle because you don't want to just stand there, Yeah. And then in order to stay locked on, you have to hold the button down. You can't just press it once to lock on and press it again to turn it off, which is also not what I'm used to, Because in 1 through 4, it's you press a button to lock on, and I think you press another button to switch between your targets, and then you press the same lock-on button again to turn off the lock-on. And that was always the case, and they changed it up in this, and it's just really almost counterintuitive. So it just felt, the battle controls felt slightly maybe archaic when maybe they were trying to go for like a modernized easy play, and they wound up making it more difficult for the wrong reason. So that was something that annoyed me. They switched up the
they limited your movement because they thought that would make it more simple, but it doesn't.
So they pretty much made it harder for the wrong reasons at a bunch of moments. It's like I wanted to dodge an attack from an enemy, and I wind up jumping backwards a bit and just like getting hit by the enemy. I'm like, no, dodge.
I'd have to play it to comment on on that aspect of it, but I always liked Devil May Cry's controls, like just the combos and stuff. Always felt really fluid and stuff. So hopefully, it's something you can get the hang of or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and another thing was the Devil Breakers. While an awesome idea, I had 2 problems with them. One was you can take, and the Devil Breakers, if you don't know, they're the like mechanical arms that Nero has since he had his arm taken off. You can carry a certain amount with you into the mission.
Okay.
And like you can also pick up some. So there were 2 problems I had with the Devil Breakers. One was you can't switch between them. So you can only choose the one that's like first in your lineup.
Okay.
Which is weird because like instead of, fooling around with different Devil Breakers, you're limited to the one you have. And then the other thing I don't like, which is also your way of quote unquote switching, is you can kind of like make it self-destruct. So like you can do like a big blast of damage and lose that, and then go to the use the next Devil Breaker in your lineup. So it's and I winded up like self-destructing the Devil Breaker quite too often on accident because it was L2 and or L1, and I think I used that button with the other two characters to do like common things in battle. So it's just kind of like the 3 character controls kind of mess with your head a bit, and you wind up using like destroying your own weapons too often, and then being left with none. So yeah. I know it was like the Devil Breaker thing. I feel like was a mechanic that they could have made slightly better if you can swap between them, because you don't use the control pad as Nero until the very end of the game. All right, this is where it throws me off, because with V and Dante you can initiate your Devil Trigger with L1, and with Nero you destroy your arm with L1. So you kind of get into this habit of like powering up, and then it's like you destroy by accident because you forget that Nero can't use the Devil Trigger, and then because he doesn't have the Devil Bringer, and by the end of the game, I mean, this is no spoiler because in every game you get a Devil Trigger pretty much. I'm just not going to say how it happens or anything, but Nero has, because he had it in 4, he had the Devil Trigger, so you know he's going to have a Devil Trigger in this game. So he gets a Devil Trigger, and you would think to use L1, but they still have it set to blow up your Devil Breakers with L1, and then they make the control pad. You can like press a button on the control pad in order to initiate the Devil Trigger. I'm just like, what? It's like so like anti-intuitive. Like you would think that I'm going to power up, and it's like, oh no, that's a power up button for everyone else except Nero.
But not this character.
Exactly. It's like, really? It should have been like a slightly more, not complicated, but like maybe just like a certain thing to do in order to make it self-destruct, and not so easily as a button press that you can. Right. That is like put in your mind to use as everyone else. Yeah. So I figured L1 should have been his Devil Trigger, but you know before he got the Devil Trigger could have just been blank, which is very like, you know, obviously you don't have a Devil Trigger. But V and Dante do, so your L1 button should be useless, I guess. And then it would work later on when eventually you get your Devil Trigger. Your control pad should have been to swap between your Devil Breakers, and there should have been like, I don't know, maybe press 2 buttons, or if you hold one button and then press another one in order to blow it up. Something that's easy to do, but not easy to do accidentally.
Right, not just a single button press of a button that you've been pressing the whole rest of the game.
Exactly. Like, I don't know, if you hold, because with circle you use the Devil Breaker, so you hold it down, you could charge them up. So maybe you can like hold down circle and then press a button and it blows it up, you know? Not just like accidentally press a button and blow it up. Just like something that you won't do accidentally, but is still easy enough to do for when you want to do it.
Right, so it's a quick move, but it doesn't need to be a single flick of a button that you're going to do.
So those are pretty much all the flaws I could think of, and don't let that deter you from the game, 'cause it's still really awesome. But
I'll definitely check it out because I like Devil May Cry, but I'm in no hurry to check it out, so I'll probably check it out once it like drops in price or something.
I will say there's one annoying enemy in the game they introduced early on, and it's so annoying. It always was like the bane of my existence in this game. God. Like because it has to do with the fact that it rarely flinches. It seems it's like a common enemy that's kind of like gone berserk in a sense, and it's this like bulked out thing that uses 2, I guess, like butcher knife kind of things, and it just like has, you know, swings its arms around and like charges at you, and it's just like just slightly. And I know people will probably want to say, "Well, get good," but it's like with the difficult dodging mechanic and lock on mechanic coupled with the enemy not really flinching as much. I don't know, just like the way it works kind of makes it difficult to deal with this enemy.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of unfortunate, but other than that, it's a fun game because like all the other enemies are easy to deal with, and You know, the level layouts are pretty cool. I will also say that I felt that the environment was not as varied, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like, I almost felt like I was in the same place the entire time. Because you kind of are, but they do switch it up. But I think that the downfall to that is that some of the missions drag on a little bit, and then I kind of get bored with the environment because I kind of feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Like, fight enemies, walk down this corridor. Fight enemies, walk down this corridor.
That's always something. I know it's kind of like gameplay over aesthetics or whatever, but man, if the aesthetics of a game like get me kind of bored from like
I got a bit bored quite often. Because I remember in Devil May Cry, in like at least Devil May Cry 1 and 3, just off the top of my head. I guess 4 also. I remember you were able to just like skip fighting enemies, like just walk past a lot of them, unless it was like an introduction to an enemy and they appeared for the first time. And on occasion, like the like gates would appear that you can't pass till you beat all the enemies. But it felt like that was every battle in this game. It's like you had to fight every enemy. Like, you could not move on. And that was just really annoying. There was like no battles that you could just walk past. Like, I don't really feel like fighting this one. It's like, nope, stop. You got to fight this. Move on down the corridor a bit. Nope, stop. You got to fight all these guys. It's like, okay. So it did feel a little repetitive, in that sense. And I feel bad saying that because that kind of is Devil May Cry. It's all about like the style of the battle.
Right, you're supposed to kind of enjoy just, comboing on random enemies and stuff.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I didn't quite enjoy comboing the enemies because I thought the battle system wasn't as good as it was in past games.
Gotcha.
In terms of controls and whatnot. So that was unfortunate, but still a great game. So don't let those because those flaws aren't like the be-all, end-all of the game. It still had great pros to it. I was just talking about the flaws. Like, the stylish action is really stylish, and it is really satisfying.
These aren't game-breaking flaws.
No, they're not game-breaking flaws. Although, if they were, I'm sure it would have got a lot more negative opinions, I guess.
Yeah.
But there was, those were the things that bothered me personally. I guess they weren't as big of an issue for other people because I haven't really seen anybody else talk about those things. I don't know. But
yeah, like I haven't played it yet, so I haven't really watched anybody's reviews of it. At least no reviews that would be so thorough that they would go into details like that. So
there's also a couple of things.
I have to play it myself to give an opinion.
There's also a couple of things that were always in the older games, like in order to level up to get like unlock Stinger, where you like lunge forward and things like that. You always had to kind of buy them, and I kind of feel like maybe in this game some of them you should have had in the beginning. Like, just some of them, like the Stinger where you thrust forward, because with Nero, you're so accustomed to grabbing enemies from far away that when you automatically switch to Dante, you're kind of like, oh, I can't reach these guys. And it's like, you kind of want to just like pull them to you. So the alternative would be to like go to them, and there's no way to really go to them with Dante until you buy Stinger or something like that. And even still, Stinger, when you hit them, it like throws them back. So you get accustomed, and I guess maybe Devil May Cry 4 had this issue too, where you get accustomed with Nero to pull enemies to you and attack them, so you're kind of constantly comboing. And with Dante, a lot of times, a lot of his attacks, you have to get up to the enemy yourself. So if you're kind of far from them, you have to walk up to them or use your like Stinger, but then that pushes them away. So it kind of like throws you off when you're so accustomed in the beginning of the game to like bringing everyone to you. It's like get over here and then kill them. Like, get over here, and then like far in the game. Like, because you don't play as Dante till after a number of missions, so by then you kind of have this like this rhythm, just kind of in your head how to play, and you can't do any of that stuff. And I guess Devil May Cry 4 had that issue too, but
yeah, I mean, with changing up characters, it's always it's going to be different. And you got to get used to the other character, and they can throw you off with another You're playing one character, it's gonna throw you off from another one, but I can't see it being an annoying thing anyway, at least in the first
feel like
playthrough.
maybe they could have got around it by giving Dante a unique weapon that brought enemies to him. Because when you first play as Dante, he has two weapons. He has Rebellion, which is a sword, and a new weapon, which acts just like a bunch of the old ones. Like, if you remember from basically Devil May Cry 1's, was it Ifrit? And 3's Beowulf, was it? Basically the fight, like the gauntlet and...
I think it was called Beowulf.
So it's called Balrog, and
okay.
It is really awesome. But I'm wondering if it could have benefited by maybe having, if not a third weapon, but just maybe like a weapon that would act similar to the Bringer, where some kind of almost like a chain sword or something that would have like pulled.
Okay.
That would have been pretty cool to kind of replicate the Devil Bringer in a sense.
Mm-hmm. So you have that feeling of like pulling people towards you or whatever.
Or like a weapon that has kind of like a magnetism that just pulls enemies to you. Or some weapon to kind of act similar if like that's your play style.
Right.
But maybe maybe that's just me being picky because 4 didn't do that and I absolutely loved 4. So maybe I'm just being picky or spoiled because I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm just trying to like think of all the flaws, but it's just, I couldn't get over some of the bosses. Like some of their patterns were just like almost unreadable. I winded up using gold. Thankfully, gold orbs were easy to get in this game. Because I had to use, like on every boss, I had to use 1 gold orb. It seems like. And then the final boss, I think I used 3 or 4 because just like their patterns, I could not get like, and I don't know if I want to blame the controls or, because maybe, I don't know, maybe if the controls were better for me, it would have been easier to dodge a lot of the moves. But I felt like a lot of times when I was trying to dodge, I would get hit. Whereas I feel like in past games that wasn't an issue. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, if you, especially for bosses, I feel like if the dodge mechanic isn't coming naturally, that's usually gonna be an issue.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna really tackle the harder difficulties, or at least not like a really hard difficulty, because I feel like the controls aren't as good for battling for the way I play it. I don't know. I might try to do it anyway. There's one difficulty I don't think I'm ever gonna play, and that's the one where you die in 1 hit and everyone else is like the hardest difficulty. Because they had that.
Perfect.
Because in Devil May Cry 4, I beat all the difficulties except for that one, where like I was just like, nope. I think I tried it once just for the sake of trying it, and I think I might have gotten up to the first boss.
Yeah.
Or maybe. And I just, like, died right away, and I was just like, nope, I'm done.
I like absolutely brutal difficulties in games. Even if I don't beat them, I love trying them out. Like, games where you just die in 1 hit, like, even, like, old NES games, like Silver Surfer and stuff, like, I don't know, I find it fun to just see, like, how far I can get in something that's just, like, this is way too intense, I'm not going to beat it, but...
But, I mean, a game where I had to use a gold orb on it, most of the boss fights, and 3 or 4 on the last boss fight on normal difficulty, I don't think I'm going to be able to not get hit at all.
Probably not, at least not with practicing a lot.
Yeah, and I don't have the time or interest to sit there like I used to. Like, I used to be able... I remember when I played Devil May Cry 4, I was just, like, addicted to it. I would just, like, sit there. Because back in college, it's like, after class, I might just, like, sit there all day and play it. And it's like, I can't do that anymore.
I don't know if my attention span isn't as good, or if there's just too many more games these days, or if I don't have the time. But I totally get what you're saying, man. I used to play. There were some games I'd put hours upon hours into, and these days it's very rare that I won't just play a game and then be like, okay, I played it. I got to the end. Like I did it.
Yeah.
Unless something that is like a multiplayer like Smash or Mario Kart or whatever, but a game that you can play through and there's a clear ending. I used to just 100% complete everything in those type of games, and these days I find myself just playing through them once and being satisfied.
And I don't want to downplay that because obviously I've done that before and enjoyed it. So
Right.
if people have the time and attention to do that, that's great. I'm not mocking you for it. Like, go ahead and do that. Like, I can't do it anymore. I don't think my attention span is there anymore. I
think it's way more like lifestyle too. Like, you know, if you have the time for it and stuff.
But
yeah,
also,
it's a big factor.
Yeah, but also, like, there are projects that I'm trying to do in my own time, whether it's my comic or some other things that I don't want to just talk about publicly yet, because if they fall through, then I don't want to be like, oh, it didn't work out, guys. So,
right.
So like, there are things I'm working on that make me personally feel a bit more productive at the end of the day when I do them. But I do like enjoying playing games. Like, that's important to me too. So I have to find this balance, and sitting there playing a game all day is not in that balance.
Or especially if it's a game that you've like, I've beaten this and I'm literally just trying it on a harder difficulty.
Let me rephrase that. If it's a game that I'm still in the midst of playing, that usually will take priority. Like Resident Evil 2, when I got that, and Kingdom Hearts 3, like when I was playing those two games, I was up all night playing them because they were taking priority to me. Like, I have to know what's going to happen next. Like, this game is amazing, like the gameplay or like the story, like what's going to happen next, or like this is so fun. But then once you beat it, you're kind of like, all right, I know what I'm getting into now, so let me do the other things that I had to like do.
See, those I want to play both those games, but they're both on my like backlog at the moment, and hopefully I get my PS4 back soon, and I'll jump right into Kingdom Hearts 3.
So
but
what is your backlog?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. a lot of stuff, but I think Kingdom Hearts 3 is probably the game that I meant to play and immediately when it came out, and got to play only briefly, and will immediately play as soon as I get my PS4 back. As far as other games, Resident Evil 2, like I want to play that too, so it's definitely on my backlog, the remastered, but since it is just Resident Evil 2 again, it's probably a little lower down the totem pole, at least against Kingdom Hearts, but I'm sure there's other games too. Nothing's coming to my mind, but I'm sure there's a lot.
I don't know if you were part of the conversation when I was talking about Resident Evil 2, but they did add in like 2 new enemies in the free DLC, but I don't think they're considered canon because
I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah, one of them was basically just regular zombies, but they were poisonous, so they had like purple eyes and they spit out like a purple poison gas. And the other one was super creepy, and I think would have been awesome in the main game. They were called Pale Heads.
Okay,
they're basically like, they had like this creepy, like I want to say they were humanoid like zombies, but I think their heads were a little bit swollen. They were bald and they were kind of naked, and they kind of like wriggled as they walked to you.
Sounds freaky.
And it reminded me of it almost reminded me of the Regenerators and Iron Maidens from Resident Evil 4 and the Ooze from Resident Evil Revelations, where it's kind of that like unsettling creep factor. So I was like, I think that if this thing had appeared in the main game, that would have been crazy. I don't know where it would have appeared. Probably,
but we're freaked out.
Probably in the facility, because in the original game they had the naked zombies.
Yeah.
And there were no naked zombies in this game, so I think they kind of could have like made up for that with these pale heads, and I think that would have been like really crazy. Like if I saw that, I would have been like, what the is this? Like, I would have been really like freaked out. But instead they saved it for the DLC. And I didn't like the DLC because they ramped up the difficulty factor. It was kind of like a survival. And so they had like I think they called it a training or tutorial mode, which is like the way to play it with like, you get like health and pick up certain items and stuff. And then they have like the normal one where it's kind of like you're trying to compete for the highest ranking, and it's less of, so they treat it as less of a story mode, and more of like a bonus mode. And I kind of wanted it more as a story mode. So like I just watched people like the what's it called, the Fourth Survivor with Hunk. I remember in the old game that was pretty difficult, and in this one it was really difficult, and I didn't beat it. I got close to the end. It's really interesting. It would have been really cool if they made it just, I feel like, slightly easier, or gave it a because they didn't give that one a training mode or tutorial mode. I think they could have benefited by giving that, because I think because that is somewhat story important.
Right, I think you'd have a bit of a plot kind of happening, or I don't know if plot's the right word, but you'd have something like story like.
Yeah, because the other DLC ones, the Ghost Survivors, I believe they're non-canon. Or, like, I'm pretty confident they're non-canon, because they're characters that were deceased throughout, like, the canon story, and they're alive. They're kind of like alternate scenarios. But, like, the actual canon one with Hunk is, like, you can't play, like, the easier story mode. It's, like, for some reason, I don't know what they were thinking when they did that. Like, maybe they could have made it, like, even if you didn't, like, unlock anything by playing it on normal difficulty, or easier difficulty, I feel like that should have just been an option for people who just wanted to beat it to see the end.
Yeah.
Because when I played it a couple times and died, I was just like, I'm done. Like, it's not worth going crazy over. And then I just watched somebody beat it online. I was just like, oh my god, are you serious? Like, alright, whatever. And I really wanted to go for the infinite rocket launcher and infinite minigun, but in order to do that is ridiculous. I remember Resident Evil 7's version of getting the infinite stuff was easier. Like, I did it in Resident Evil 7 and enjoyed it because it was quote-unquote doable. Whereas in Resident Evil 2, you have to beat it on the hardcore difficulty under, I think, 2.5 hours, and save a total of 3 times.
Dude, older games always make things so ridiculously hard.
Because basically you had to beat hardcore with an S+ ranking. And the only way to get S+ ranking is beat it under 2.5 hours, and save at most 3 times. And I'm just like, what? And the way the saving works in hardcore mode, there's no autosaves. It uses the ink ribbons. So if you die, you go back to your last save. So I'm just like, there's no way. Because there's a few like cheap moments in that game. Like just a few moments where it's easy to mess up. And I feel
if you
like
just don't get it, you lost of like an input.
Yeah, and and I feel like if I was playing it, I would save before those points.
Right.
But there's, like, I haven't like counted it up in my head at which parts I would save at, but I feel like it would be more than 3. You know, I think I'd be able to maybe do it if I can save up to like 8 times, and that's just throwing a number out there, because I can do it before like every boss or something. But like there are just certain points in that game quite often where I just don't think I'd be able to confidently go into it on hardcore difficulty and beat it on my first try.
Like, oh yeah, this is fine. I can do this.
I watched somebody play it, and I was like, I don't think I could do this. So I just felt bad about myself.
It's also the whole thing where like you would be trying to do it and you'd be like an hour and a half in, and then you drop the ball somewhere, and it's like, that was so long. What I just did.
Because that actually, when I was watching someone play it, that almost happened. It was like maybe an hour or an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
And he was about to die, and he's like, oh, is this where the run ends? But then he overcame it. And I was just like, man, if that was me, I think I would call it quits if I lost there. Like,
I'm always impressed by people who do like, I don't know, speed runs of games and stuff. Like some speed runs are, within an hour or so, but some speed runs are like, they're like 3-something hours to do whatever they're trying to do. And I'm always just like, man, for me, it's not just like there's obviously the skill involved is impressive. But on the same token, it's just like the endurance of playing a game for that long straight perfectly. It's like, wow, I couldn't be focused that long.
I can see because the level of unlocks are like, you get infinite of all the other weapons, in that scenario, because there's 2 scenarios, there's Leon and Claire. You get infinite of, I believe, all the weapons except for the rocket launcher or minigun, depending on which scenario you're on, by beating, I think, hardcore mode with an S rank. So I can see if they kind of like trickle down each unlock and made like as long as you beat hardcore, you get infinite of everything, and then as long as you beat hardcore with a regular S, then you get infinite rocket launcher and minigun. Like, I could see that being more doable. But one of the things that I think works against you is you can't use infinite weapons in order to get an S+ ranking, except for the infinite knife, which I've seen people use like religiously in that run.
I would imagine that's probably got to be your kind of crutch.
But the problem is you have to get up close to the enemies, and I'm not good enough to not get hit. Like, I saw somebody run up to William Birkin in his first form, and just like run up to him and like slice at the eyeball on his shoulder, but like circle around him, and they just kept like circling around him, and then eventually he grabbed them, and what they used it as like a self-defense and like stab it into the eyeball, so then you lose it until you beat him, and then you'll get it back. But I was just like, what? I feel like if I did that, I'd get punched and die.
Yeah, right.
So, oh man. But yeah, I spoke a lot about Devil May Cry 5, and I guess more Resident Evil 2. And we also don't have any comments this week, and there was a couple other things we wanted to talk about anyway. I just wanted to say that. So we could kind of just talk about whatever. One of the things I had brought up to you yesterday, I texted you a video of a leak in Smash that I don't know if it's real or not. I think as of this moment, or last time I checked, there's no confirmation of it being true or not. But the quote-unquote leak is video footage of, I want to say, hacked or data mined on the eShop of the fighter passes. And so there's one for each character, and the first one I think said Joker, the second one said Bravely Default, and the third one said Shantae. Oh no, the first one I think said Persona 5.
Persona.
Yeah, Persona. Yeah, because I think it named each series.
Right.
And then the last two were left blank.
And because it was naming the Challenger packs, and I think the idea is that stage character music, and they're naming them after the series.
And you know what? I want this to be true, and I don't want it to be true. I want, and here's the thing: I want it to be true because Shantae. Yeah. But I don't want it to be true because Bravely Default. And that's not to say anything bad about Bravely Default. I haven't played it, but the character looks cool. I bought the Fires Pass, so I'd get the character anyway. But I feel like I would definitely. I don't
care who they put in, I'm getting them.
Yeah, I feel like if it was Bravely Default and if it was Agnes, or however it's pronounced, I don't know how it's pronounced, so I'm just going to say Agnes.
I've been calling her Agnes. I think it's like
Anye or something?
Agnes or something like that. Somebody told me it's like French sounding, and
that makes sense.
How they told me to say it, but
like
Agnes or something. But I'm saying Agnes because that's how it's spelled.
It's like bologna.
Yeah, it's like Bologna.
or like Bolognese, if you get like a pasta Bolognese.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call her Bolognese.
There you go.
So so like I don't know anything about her, but assuming she's the character that would come in the pack, I would be interested in her because she seems cool. She seems like a cool character. Back when they had the fake confirmed, obviously fake at this point, confirmed fake, even if it wasn't confirmed fake at the time, she was in a quote-unquote leak at the time, and while I was partly against it because I want to see other characters in, I think if those other characters were put in first, then I'd be like, alright, she's cool. Like, but there's other Square Enix characters.
It's the competition thing, not
Now if Square Enix was known for putting in multiple characters easily, I'd be like, yeah, bring her in, because then we could get other characters
for me
too.
With Square characters, because I like Gino, I like Chrono, I like Sora, and then I like side characters from those games.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'd be down
there's so many characters I want from Square. It's so hard knowing we'll probably, if we even get one, it'll be one. So.
Yeah, I just for some reason, Square is known for just not playing ball very well, and unfortunately, if that's the reality, it's kind of a competition of Square Enix characters. And so it's like if one is close to being confirmed, you're kind of like, oh no, I wanted this other one instead, because there's so many great Square Enix characters. And
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a tough thing with me too, because Gino's my most wanted Smash character, but that's not to say like I've probably said this a million times too and other things, but like that I do want Sora, I want Chrono, I think Sephiroth is cool. Like there's a ton of Square characters I think are cool, and I would want them in Smash. It just stinks that they're all in competition against each other. Like,
yeah, I'm trying to think of what Square Enix would benefit from having what character, and it seems at the moment it would be a Dragon Quest representative. And
yeah, that's where I'm thinking.
I'm not
too.
against it. Again, I'm not against that character or a character from Dragon Quest. I've never played Dragon Quest, so I have no attachment to it. Again, it just comes down to there are other characters I want to see more. And
it's the same way I feel. If I could get if the rest of the fighter class was all Square characters and one of them was a Dragon Quest character, by all means, I'd be excited about it. Like, it's more that, getting a Dragon Quest character means I'm not getting character A, B, C, and D. And that's what stinks about it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, you kind of have a handful of characters in your mind that you think, like, well, one of these has to be it. And then when none of them turns out to be it, you're just like, really?
Right.
Like, just disappointed.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know where Sora stands, because if he's owned or co-owned by Disney, I don't know if that makes him practically impossible to get the rights for.
That's the thing with like half the Square characters too, is like Sora's owned by Disney. Even Dragon Quest or Chrono Trigger, like, is Akira Toriyama involved? I know Dragon Quest has like something weird with like their composer and a few other things. Like, there's so many things with the legality to those characters that you're just wondering. And I almost thought, like, well, Gino, since he's already a spirit, like, does that make him the easiest one to implement?
Yeah,
but that's all conjecture. Like, I have no idea the legality and the rights. It's all speculation. So,
see, I know that I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say, because you were talking about, I want to give Square Enix the benefit of the doubt and say they're willing to play ball, but the problem is a lot of their characters are co-owned and not just by them.
Right.
So it makes it difficult to play with because you have to go through multiple people. That might be on top of the fact that they are hard to play with. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, if we give them the benefit of the doubt and say, they would even push for it, you still have to go through, like, more work than you would for other third-party characters. Because I know with Cloud, you have to go through Square Enix, and you have to go through Tetsuya Nomura, I believe, who might have some kind of ownership.
I think we talked about this one time too.
Yeah.
The Square, just the way that the company seems to work, seems to be different than other companies in that they, give the rights to the characters. It appears anyway. So all the people involved, which spreads things a little thin when it's about making deals with other companies or getting somebody else on board to use the character, or use the series.
Yeah. So, I don't know what to, I mean, because I think the same thing with the music too. I think Square Enix doesn't solely own the music too, and that's why we only have 2 Final Fantasy musics.
Right.
I think the composer has ownership too, and so I think it just becomes a difficult thing to do when it comes to getting rights from Square Enix, or at least specific franchises. And I feel like
one reason why Bravely Default might actually work. I mean, so as far as this leak goes, it's just a video of somebody on like the eShop or whatever looking at characters, and I can't find the origin of the video myself. And it's also one of those things that I feel like if you were able to data mine that, I would have heard multiple people doing it, and I haven't. So I don't know how real it is, but the fact that it does have Bravely Default, I will say we have the codename character Brave, so maybe we've just been overthinking it the whole time, because Bravely Default obviously fits that.
But then Jack isn't in Persona.
Doesn't seem to have as many legal problems as a lot of other characters, so there's that.
Yeah. So I don't know what to make of it. But in terms of Square Enix characters that would be easy to bring over, I would imagine Gino should be easy, because Nintendo is probably one of the co-owners.
Yeah, I mean, he's already in Smash. Like that's kind of the big argument for him is that he's a Spirit. So whether or not Spirit's deconfirmed characters, it does prove. Can we get Geno in Smash? The rights are already there. Like
I also feel people have been saying that not director or whoever he was that posted about the Dragon Quest character and like posted the shield.
Oh yeah.
I feel
forget who it was too, but I know what you're talking about.
I feel like that's a purposeful red herring. I feel like people
maybe
because hear me out on this. Imagine being Nintendo and seeing that people had data mined Brave in there and have been jumping to the conclusion of Dragon Quest. And if you want to surprise people,
feed the fire.
Well, hold on. I think I'm explaining this wrong. If it wasn't a Dragon Quest character, you would want to throw people off on the fact that it wasn't a Dragon Quest character because people would just throw that out and narrow it down to something else that it could be. So if you're someone in the know, if it was a Dragon Quest character and you were someone in the know, you would probably not be allowed to post like anything hinting towards it. So the fact that they did makes me kind of think that they're trying to purposefully throw people off. So you kind of understand what I'm saying? Maybe I'm explaining it. I think I'm explaining it poorly, but basically the idea is like by posting something, you obviously have the ability to post it. And I don't know if it was taken down or not. Do you know if it was taken down?
No, it wasn't taken down. I just so just to clarify it because I don't remember the guy's name, but he's a guy who works for HAL, which doesn't necessarily he doesn't work on Smash specifically. Mm-hmm. He works for HAL, which does work on Smash, or Sakurai's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and he posts stuff on his Instagram all the time with like Kirby and other things. The biggest deal with that Instagram post of Erdrick's Shield was that he called it like the Braves Shield. So it was like a confirmation of that a Japanese person who is in a studio that would have some association with Smash would translate Yusha, which is like the hero character's title or whatever, to the word brave. So the big thing was that the fact that it was a confirmation of that translation but the person who did it wasn't necessarily someone who worked on Smash. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It'd be a little removed to do it as a red herring, but I could see him being some guy who just is casually involved with Smash. Mm-hmm. Maybe Sakurai has told him some of the DLC characters or something, and I could see him messing with the community online. As Western people on like Twitter, I've seen them mess with people. The guy who Ed Boon, who works on Mortal Kombat, supposedly I guess he trolls people all the time, and recently he posted something with Smash, which doesn't mean that we can't get like a Mortal Kombat character in Smash. We totally could, but it might have just been messing with people. Same for this guy. The fact that he decided to translate it as the Braves Shield may have been a little wink and a nod to the fact that he's aware that the internet has the word brave, and they're linking it to Dragon Quest. Whether or not that means it's in Smash, I have no idea. Whether or not he was messing with the Smash community because he knows he is or knows he isn't, I don't know.
Now imagine if you're Nintendo and you know that a Dragon Quest character is the next character.
Yeah.
Would you tell him to take down his post? Because I feel like that would be confirmation that it is indeed. Like, it's possible
that's always the tough thing with
it's like they could look at it and just be like, you shouldn't have did that. But at this point, if you take it down, people will know.
Right? Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, but he's not beholden to Nintendo. He works for HAL, so even if Nintendo told him to take down the tweet, he could say no. But again, if Nintendo even gets involved, like I think that's why Nintendo generally tries not to get involved in leaks, even real ones, fake ones. They just don't say anything because that's the best way to keep things unknown. Like when Virgiben was saying, we're going to get Ken and we're going to get Incineroar, or that image of Ken was floating around. Like, Nintendo didn't come out to try to throw things off. I think their silence is more, it leaves everybody going, okay, it's less evidence to do even less. So I don't know. I think that guy, again, it just kind of shows that someone in the gaming industry in Japan would indeed translate the hero character's title to Brave. So Erdrick could be Brave. We might be onto something. But at the same time, maybe he was just messing around.
Yeah.
I doubt Nintendo was involved, I guess, is my point.
How would you feel if it was Erdrick?
I'd be fine with it. At this point, I've kind of made peace with it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, we kind of already went over this. I want other Square characters,
yeah.
So that's my only gripe with it. As far as Dragon Quest deserving to be in Smash, I think it does. As far as what the character himself, I think he looks cool. I like Akira Toriyama's art style, so I'd be fine with it. But
I think
whatever. Obviously, I'd rather have Geno. I'd rather have Chrono. I'd rather have Sora. Even other characters, Sephiroth, from other games, I'd probably rather have, but I'm not against it.
I think I prefer his original chibi look over the
same.
One.
Yeah, I like the chibi look.
It's a little bit more unique because everybody, like all the Fire Emblem characters, he would just kind of blend in otherwise with like another swordsman.
Anime swordsman thing.
So being chibi, he's a little bit more unique.
Yeah, I feel he looks more cartoony, chibi. I think he feels more like original Dragon Quest, which I know Japan just like loves the series and has for a long time. But I don't know. I like stuff having that. I like that they went with old, Simon Belmont look. I like that they went with classic Mega Man look. Like I like when they do that.
Even with Pac-Man.
With Pac-Man too, yeah, Pac-Man. I just like when they do that. So I would kind of prefer. That the reason we got Erdrick is because Dragon Quest was so huge back on the NES. That just feels more right to me than Dragon Quest as a series or getting like... I know some people have talked about like Luminari because that's like the newer Dragon Quest game. I don't like the design of that character that much. So I'd rather get Chibi Erdrick. If I had a choice, Chibi Erdrick or Slime, I feel like represents Dragon Quest better. But that's just me personally.
I'm wondering... There was that... there was all that talk about Dante being in it before the game came out. And
there was like a really good leak that was tied to him, but it didn't come to pass.
I'm wondering if that came about from him having the same voice actor as Ken, and maybe somebody working there heard Ruben Langdon doing Ken's voices, Ken's vocals, and thought, "Oh my God, Dante's in the game."
That could totally happen.
I'm wondering if that's what spawned that.
That's totally possible because honestly, if I don't remember exactly when that leak came out, but if the information that led people to believe Dante's in Smash, and maybe they went out of their way to say more, just some people just lie even when they have real information. So maybe they're just trying to say more. Like maybe they had heard the voice actor was in the studio for Smash, and they jumped to the conclusion of Dante because. Well, Bayonetta's in Smash. It'd be so cool to have Bayonetta versus Dante because those are they're very similar games and stuff. That whole thing between those characters. So they jumped with Dante, and that may have been a conclusion they jumped to before the whole idea of Echo Fighters was thrown out there. In which case, because I wouldn't have never have guessed.
That's
Ken.
True.
Like before Echo Fighters, Ken would have been completely off. If we were getting a second Street Fighter character, I would have said Chun-Li. That I wouldn't have guessed Ken. But then once Echo Fighters were on the table, Ken became more likely. So.
I would think Chun-Li because she's almost just as important as Ryu, being the first female fighter, pretty much, and she's having a different fighting style. Gaming. Yeah. And then when I heard about Echoes, I was kind of hoping that we would get Sakura just to get like another female rep.
Yeah.
Or like even maybe Aqua, because I felt like Ken was just way too. He's
extremely similar to Ryu. Akuma would have been like another villain rep,
Yeah, exactly.
Ken doesn't check any other boxes.
Yeah, and then even Dan would have been
personally I play as Ken in Street Fighter, so I was happy to get Ken, but it felt like an empty victory because it's like I play as Ken in Street Fighter, but I'm not a huge Street Fighter fan anyway, so it's not like I'm really gonna gravitate towards Ken as like a character I want to play, and. I don't know. It's like I would have rather not had my character and just had a character that fits Street Fighter better. I don't know if that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying that right.
I think that it would have made for a not Echo, but for like an actual original character. If we got another Street Fighter, I think it would make sense to be Chun-Li.
Yeah, Chun-Li or Zangief probably would have been my choices.
Yeah, I think Chun-Li is more. What's the word I'm looking for? Not important, but
iconic, maybe.
Yeah, iconic. I think she's more iconic than Zangief. Although Zangief has become like meme-ish.
Right. That's kind of why I would have went with him. That's why he would have been up there with Chun-Li. But I would have also went with Chun-Li.
Yeah. So, So I still don't know what to think of this leak. I feel like it's probably fake, especially because of that Rayman leak that Artsiami did. It's like anybody, you just really can't trust any leaks anymore.
Yeah, I mean the Rayman leak and the Grinch leak have made it so that. And the Grinch leak even had all the extra stuff, like where a leak's coming from, the story behind the leak. Like the Grinch leak was almost winning because of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I find it so hard to scrutinize like an image, or even this one's a video, but it's just a video of text. Without knowing where something's coming from, it's really hard for me to judge a leak based on what it looks like, or stuff like that, because it's just anybody can fake it. That's just where it is.
Do you think that if instead of Ken we saw Dante on the Grinch leak, it would have been more or less believable?
It would have been tougher. The thing with the Grinch leak was that we pretty much knew before it that Ken and Incineroar were coming. Like that was the thing I was always struggling with the Grinch leak, was that I never said I didn't think Incineroar was going to happen. My whole analysis of the Grinch leak was always, I think Incineroar might have been moved to DLC. I still thought he was happening. Mm-hmm. So, to not have Ken on there as well probably would have made it less believable off the bat. There was like this very I don't know what to say at this point in retrospective, but there was a lot of believability to the Grinch leak because it did have Ken, and the fact that I had kind of wrestled in my mind that it is possible that they would have moved Incineroar to DLC. That was where I was at with it.
Yeah.
So, but Dante would have been backed up by that, the other leak that had him. That was pretty good, because I think that leak guessed a bunch of stuff for Devil May Cry 5, but then also said Dante was coming to Smash. So it was like this tacked on thing. Though I think it was like a separate post. It was like one person posted all this information for Devil May Cry 5, and then it just seemed like the person continued to write something about Dante for Smash. So
I still find it hilarious that it was even called the Grinch leak. Just because there was a poster. That was like
my favorite part about it, honestly.
Just because there's a poster of the Grinch behind it, it became the Grinch leak.
Yeah, and then I love the memes, and I added like that video to the beginning of one of my videos where it was like the Grinch bringing presents to people, and the presents were the characters. Like, yeah. I actually thought it was really funny. Like, that was just a funny meme that spawned out of it. I love that aspect of it, despite it being false and obviously making everyone angry. It kind of made me angry too, but
yeah.
It was a funny aspect to it.
Preferred it being true, I think, because we would have got.
I think everybody would
have. Yeah, and I wonder if that was the reason Nintendo was supposedly mad, because they knew that people's expectations were way too high thanks to.
I definitely think that, because there was that whole thing that Nintendo seems mad right now, which I think was true. I was getting that from a lot of people. It was probably true, but I don't think they were mad that the game got leaked. They were mad that the game's expectations were high, and I think the same thing about. Game Explain. Like I wasn't too harsh on Game Explain or anything, but I did point out the fact that they weren't talking about it much, and they were just brushing it off, and that if they have more information, because if you weren't completely in the know, there was no reason not to pay attention to that leak, and they weren't paying attention to it. So either Nintendo was telling them not to give it much attention.
They paid attention to it, but they only did it briefly, and then they
briefly, and they wrote it off. They refused to really look at all the evidence of it.
I was really part of me was really interested to see how they would have reacted if it was real.
Yeah. So my thinking initially was, well, maybe they've been told not to talk about it because it's real, and therefore they're not looking at it. But now in retrospective, I think what probably happened was they knew it wasn't real, but I still think it was wrong of them not to pay attention to it, because basically all that did was blow the cover of if you have a channel like that and you're doing like speculation videos and I wonder what characters
True.
are going to be in Smash videos and stuff like that. But like you can't have both. You can't have it both ways. Like either you're a Nintendo channel, a channel that Nintendo is affiliated with, or you're not. And one channel can speculate and one channel can't. And so I found it just disingenuous.
I don't know if
for that, so
they knew or not, or were told anything, but
I think they knew at least about Incineroar, because at that point I had talked to people who knew about Incineroar, who had seen video footage of Incineroar. And so like that was the whole thing. Was I was thinking, well, maybe Incineroar has been bumped down to DLC. But Game Explain was refusing to even look at, they weren't looking at the possibilities like that, because I think they weren't allowed to say, yeah, we know about Incineroar. So
what exactly does it mean?
That's why I found it disingenuous.
What exactly does it mean to be affiliated with Nintendo?
That too. So they sort of seem to skate a line, and that's again where it's like, can you even make speculation videos if you have a little bit more information than the public does? And Game Explain does seem to have that, because games get announced and instantly they have more footage of the game and everything, or they're the first people to put stuff out. So they're skating that line, but at a certain point you can't do speculation, because it's disingenuous speculation. It's not real.
But what do you mean by affiliation? Is it like an official partnership?
There's clearly something going on with Game Explain and Nintendo. Like, for anybody watching, it's clear they get stuff from Nintendo. It's, beforehand or something. No one's surprised by that.
I guess if it's true that Nintendo was angered by the Grinch leak due to it being, like, getting people's hopes up, I guess.
Yeah.
Then I guess I can see Nintendo reaching out to them and just being like, "Hey, just please don't talk about this because
just brush it under the rug, or don't give it attention." But that's what I mean. If Nintendo reached them and said that, then it's disingenuous to do speculation videos. Yeah. If Nintendo's going to tell you not to speculate, because the same thing could happen if a leak came out that was totally true and Nintendo said, "Don't say anything about it. We don't want people seeing that." Well, so like you can't be in that arena if you're also on the other side. I guess that's my point.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's
even if you're not completely on the other side, if you're more on the other side than most, you just can't do it.
Yeah, it's certainly.
Or you shouldn't do it. You can do it, but you shouldn't do it. Or there's a problem with doing it.
But there is an upside. Excuse me. There is an upside to the Grinch leak being fake and Nintendo being, I guess, annoyed. And that's the fact that they've seen what people will go crazy for. And so hopefully they see, these characters may be worth putting in.
Very true. I was glad the Grinch leak got as much attention as it did, even being fake. Just because, it definitely shows that people really wanted Geno, people really wanted Banjo, people really wanted Isaac. So,
for some reason, people really wanted Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow too. I'm not huge on Shadow, but people do really like Shadow.
I'd be huge on Shadow if he was a little bit of a unique Echo.
Yeah, he was also an Echo a lot of people thought was going to happen. So that was, so it's like, I guess I'm glad Nintendo did, at least hear that. I thought the Smash ballot probably should have told them who people want and who people don't want, but. There you go. There was another, at least.
Yeah, but we also don't know the official results. We only know the results of people who voted.
Right,
on internet stuff. And it's like, I never participated in any online poll to say who I voted for. So how many other people had their votes left out of the online unofficial polls? So it's like,
right. And how many people who aren't really like, internet, even like, we're obviously fans of gaming and stuff like that, the type of people who would vote in those polls, and we didn't. So who are the people who actually voted, who might not even go on internet forums and stuff that would even have polls? So what characters did they vote for? We might be thinking like, oh man, K. Rool and Ridley got in with the ballot, but it's just as likely that a bunch of, I don't know what to call them, casuals, normies, might have voted for like Daisy, and that's why Daisy's in, but we would have never thought that, so.
Yeah. I mean, I could just imagine like a little kid, like seeing the Nintendo Direct or having a friend tell him about it and being like, oh, I gotta I gotta cast my vote, and like their parents help them put their vote in, and then that's it. They don't pay attention to it after that. So like
and that
their vote didn't get in the online
and that would have
unofficial
been
vote.
way more common than your hardcore gamers who are online on the internet really vocal about stuff. It honestly might have been more common than it's just some kid. I do think probably the biggest thing that happened with the Smash ballot was everyone is here, because even the polls that I saw, like the online polls, almost always had like Wolf, Ice Climbers, Snake were like always in like the top like 5.
Yeah.
And then, which is a safer vote. Like I understand why people voted for them too. Even if you're somebody who doesn't even have like a huge passion for a character, but you just are like, yeah, I'm going to vote. You might vote for just, well, I know that character's not in anymore. It would be cool to see them back.
Yeah.
So I feel like those probably won out over, and even when I looked at like poll data, a lot of times they'd get rid of veterans just to show you what new characters we might see. And it's like, yeah, but those veterans are still winning the polls.
Yeah, so the everyone is here kind of made up for that, because they probably saw, wow, a lot of people want characters to return. And,
right.
I think that any future Smash game might not be as good as the one we have now, because this has everyone. The only way I can see a future Smash game being better is if they have exclusive newcomers that aren't in Ultimate that are like really highly wanted. Like imagine the next Smash game has less veterans returning, but has like Geno and Sora, and then you kind of become torn. You're like, which Smash game do I want to keep playing? You know?
I mean, I'll even go out and say this, because I really want Geno and stuff, but I could see them cutting down on like franchise reps. Like maybe the Mario series doesn't get like Rosalina or even Bowser Jr. Maybe we don't get Geno, but what if we had like Banjo-Kazooie's in, Sora's in, Master Chief is in, like, just all the gaming, headliners are in this game, but we cut down on a lot of the multiple reps for games. Then yeah, I'd be torn on what game I like better, definitely.
It's kind of like how Wreck-It Ralph went to Ralph Breaks the Internet, where it's like, let's cut out some characters and stuff that you've seen for stuff everywhere else. So it's kind of like the next Smash is like Smash Breaks the Internet or something. So it's like we have less veterans but more third-party newcomers. Then I'd like be really torn. Like, which game do I want?
Or it doesn't even have to be third-party. I mean, you could also get like Isaac and Chibi Robo. Like if it was more series, instead of characters.
True.
Or it's like the same amount of characters but representing more series.
But then that the DLC that people will be asking for will be the return of veterans.
It'll be the veterans, yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, if the Smash ballot did show, and I'm assuming it did, how much people want veterans and how much everyone here is important to people, it's really tough to beat the Smash game. I'm honestly, like, I don't even want to think about the next Smash game, because I do think it's going to be disappointing.
Me too.
No matter who they cut, it's just going to be disappointing. Even if it's more characters, any cut characters is just going to be a disappointment.
I feel like this Smash game we'll be seeing in Evo or whatever for a long time, just because of the number of characters.
I'll put it this way: rather than even make a sequel to this until they can bring everyone back and just add more characters, I would rather them just continue to support this game. I'd rather see multiple fighter passes. I'd rather see constant patches and updates over the course of the next like decade. I'd rather see that,
especially with the Switch being a success. The
Switch is
still early in its life cycle.
It's successful and it's young, so keep it going.
I fear the next Switch. I fear the next Nintendo console, and the inevitable Smash game for that, where I'm just like, I want them to just port it. Like people were complaining about the Wii U version, about the Switch version being a port of the Wii U version, and I was one of those people who were like, yes, please be a port.
I'm the same way.
I don't want to lose anything, and I'm so glad that we didn't lose anything.
Yeah, it pretty much ported everything over and then updated, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
And like they took Smash 4 and they like gameplay wise, they perfected it. Like Smash Switch just plays better. Mm-hmm. Smash Ultimate plays better than Smash 4. So like, yeah, I mean they did exactly what I wanted. Everybody who was complaining about it being a port or not new enough, I'm over here going, dude, I did not want them to try to go from the ground up, and because then you're like flipping a coin whether or not we're going to get Brawl, and even if we get I don't know, Melee playstyle or whatever. It's like, dude, Melee is cool for like the tournament scene, but honestly, it's still only like 8 characters you can play, and there's characters in that cast that don't work. There's things about that game that don't work. I don't want them to have that. Like, I want them to take Smash 4, which was pretty close, and perfect it, and that's what they did. So I'm totally happy with Ultimate. I don't know why people were complaining.
The perfect analogy I could think of from going from the Smash 4 to Smash Ultimate is like being in a casino and earning a lot of money with somebody, and then that person is just like, you know what, I'm all in, and you're like, no, we already have all this money, and then like they win, and then you're like, oh my god, and then like going from the Switch to the next game years later, they're like probably going to be like, I'm all in again, and you're just like, no, it was successful the first time, but it's not going to be successful the second time. Don't go all in again.
It's like, I don't know, it's just taking something that is good, and you can either keep working on it and make it even better, or you can throw it out and try again. But trying again means you might fail at it. Yeah. Like, I'd rather them just perfect something that wasn't bad. Yeah, like, yeah, it came out pretty good. Let's just make it better.
There's something that I don't think they'll do, but I personally think would be the better option, and it's whatever the next console ends up being. I'm hoping there's some kind of attachment that allows you to play Switch games, and so they make an attachment for Smash that's like a Smash attachment, and it's kind of like
that'd be fine, man. I just like
and like they'll sell it with a bundle, because one, it eliminates the need to have to redo any copyrights, because it's literally the same game again, and it's still for the Switch. So technically they can just do like a bundle with like Smash Ultimate and like this attachment device that has whatever upgrade.
I mean, I know Sega kind of like shot itself in the foot with
the 32X.
32X and stuff with attachment stuff, but I do like the idea of backwards compatibility. I do hope that continues. And like you said about the copyrights, especially for obviously Smash characters that have a lot of third-party characters, you know, that was always my thought with Smash 4. I guess not, because I've heard they had trouble getting Cloud back and stuff.
Yeah, so that makes me extra worried about a future Smash game. Imagine having everyone again, but like Cloud and Snake. And
like 1 or 2 characters gone.
And you're just like, we almost had it.
Yeah, it would just be so disappointing. But that was always my thought with Smash 4, was that maybe they called, because that one doesn't have a name, it's Smash Wii U, Smash 3DS, and I thought maybe they did that so that the contract would just say we can use these characters in Smash, and as long as they call it Smash Wii U, Smash 3DS, the next one could just be called Smash Switch, and no matter what they do with it, it's like, well, no, you said we could use them for Smash, so they continue to be used for Smash.
Yeah.
The same game on a different console, like, but I guess not. I guess that's not how it worked, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just worried for a future Smash game, because I think that Cloud and maybe Snake won't make it into a future Smash game.
Yeah,
and because of other veterans randomly dropping, like Wolf, and we had Mewtwo who came back as DLC, and like other characters, I fear that just like random characters are going to be dropped. Like, why was that character dropped, or why was that character dropped? Like, you have the ownership of it. You're Nintendo. Like, why would you drop Wolf?
It's also like, it's extra hard at this point. It's like, okay, you're moving Fire Emblem forward. Who do you cut? And it's like, if you cut Roy and not Lucina, it's like, what? If you cut Chrom and not Roy, like, because they're Echoes and not Echoes, but yet some of them are kind of characters that were originally based off of other characters. Roy was cut for Smash 4, but brought back with DLC. So it's like, Corrin is like a character I think most people aren't that attached to, but has a unique move set. It's like, either you cut a lot of them, or if you only cut 1 or 2, it's like you're going to be mad. Like, some people are going to be mad that you cut this person instead of this person, because they're both up for the chopping block. I don't even want to think about the next Smash.
Echoes are great for Smash Ultimate, but going forward, I feel like they're some of the first characters to go.
That would be my guess too, but at the same time, like, are you going to cut just the Echoes? Because they don't take that much work either. You're probably going to have to cut other characters.
Well, if you're gonna,
like, where does it happen? Like, it's tough. And then you have characters like Young Link and Toon Link that aren't Echoes, but should one of them be cut? Like, you know, like, I don't know. It's weird.
Toon Link even worth using anymore? Because I feel like some of his best aspects were given to young Link.
They're different enough. I've looked into, because I play young Link. I'm not good with him yet, man.
I
I've been
kind of
trying really
started
hard
to
get
play
good
as
with
him
but-
because I like him a little bit more than I liked Toon Link for some reason. This game I kind of started playing Link a bit more.
Yeah.
And whereas in the past games I didn't really like to use him as much for some reason, but now I've just been, sometimes I'll randomly play with a Link character, mostly young Link, because I like his bombs, but I also like his second hit on the his smash attacks.
Which is more like how Toon Link was before.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, like, they kind of took that away from Toon Link, so is there anything that Toon Link has that's better than young Link and Link?
I think Toon Link, I don't know if it's better than Link and young Link, but Toon Link has, he's floaty, and he has, he kills easier than young Link has trouble killing.
Okay. I know his down smash, I think, just goes straight down.
Yeah, that too. So you can do the, like, spike stuff with that.
Is there a difference between every Echo and their counterpart? Because I feel like Daisy and Peach are exactly the same.
So people thought Daisy and Peach are exactly the same, and I did for the longest time too. I was like, I guess they're exactly the same because I don't know what it is. I think somebody just finally found out what the difference is, and it has something to do with their turnips. Different turnips. I literally found this out like a couple days ago. Different turnips do different knockback and damage. I think that's the only difference between Peach and Daisy.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Dark Link and Pit still have, or Dark Link.
Well, they have
Pit and Pit still have
different forward Bs.
Different forward Bs, and the arrow curvature is still different. And there might be a few other little tweaks with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Daisy and Peach were definitely the ones that I think they like play exactly the same except for the turnips.
And I don't even know what the turnips do to begin with. I just throw them at people and they go.
Yeah, I mean, and you have like a random chance of getting different random turnips, and some of them are better than others.
Yeah.
And that's like they're different.
I feel like a Peach/Daisy character would have a better understanding of, like, if someone explained what was different, they'd be like, oh, okay, I get that. But, like, me who doesn't really, like, I've never really played as Peach, I'm just like, what? I don't understand. Like, to me, it's an aesthetic thing.
Yeah, I really don't think they're any different except for those turnips, because I've been looking into it, and I had never heard anybody find a difference between them until, again, only like 2 days ago, somebody sent me like, oh, I guess this is the difference. And it involves knockback and what turnip.
I thought I read something yesterday about their smash attacks killing at slightly different percentages.
That, again, it might be a knockback thing then.
Maybe.
And not a damage thing, which is a little tougher to notice. So that might be what it is. As far as I know, it's only in the turnips, but it might be other places. I don't play as either of them, so I don't really pay attention too much to their differences.
Okay.
I've only looked out of curiosity for how our Echo Fighter is different.
My interpretation of what the difference was based on what I read, and I could be completely wrong, was that, like, one of them kills faster with an up smash and the other kills faster with a side smash or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's possible.
But it's only, like, by slight percentages. Like, one is 110 and the other is, like, maybe, like, slightly less, maybe 120 or something, 124 or something, I don't know, some slight percent. I mean, that's a somewhat big gap, but not too big. So it's like, if you want to kill with your up smash faster as opposed to wanting to kill with your side smash faster, I think maybe that was my understanding. But
yeah, and then it's just a matter of like which one of those smashes is happening more often to tell which character is better option. But usually when it's so minor like that, like I think Pit and Dark Pit were rated like the same in Smash 4. I think Marth and Lucina.
Well, I think the thing with
usually,
Marth and Lucina
like
is that
was.
Marth has a bigger knockback with the tip of his sword, but
yes, they're
base
different in
of
this
the
game.
sword.
They're more different in this game, and more important. Like the difference is more important in this game. I like you said, Marth has the tipper, and Lucina does not have the tipper. I think she does evenly across the whole blade.
Okay.
Which so I think Lucina is better, or generally people are saying better in most scenarios because of that. Don't quote me. I don't play them. So
is the part of the blade closer to the hilt of Marth's sword weaker than it is on Lucina's to make up for the tip being stronger?
That might be true, and that might be why having it even
Okay.
across the whole thing generally makes Lucina better. I'm not positive. Again, I don't play as them, so I have a rudimentary idea of what that difference is. I don't know it, percentage wise exactly.
I remember watching a video where Zero was explaining something in Smash 4 about how he preferred Lucina because a lot of times, even if you're intending to hit with the tip all the time with Marth, sometimes you don't,
So,
and
yeah.
so with a character like Lucina, you have more control over the knowledge of how much damage you're doing. So you basically have more control over your knockback from a very specific percent.
You want to be able to juggle people at certain percentages, or do combos, and
I guess the idea is if you know at what percent you're going to kill somebody, it's more beneficial to use a character like Lucina if you know that it's going to kill, as opposed to with Marth, if you miss the tip, it's not going to kill. So I think the idea is Lucina's more consistent if you're, just overall.
that makes a lot of sense. I'd say that's probably exactly what it is.
Yeah, so I typically use Lucina out of the two because of that knowledge, because I don't like to have to focus too much on that. I don't
really usually play as either of them, but I'd probably say, based on that, I'd probably prefer Lucina too.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm not particularly good with either of them.
You know what throws me off? Marth and Roy having English voices now.
And Cloud. I don't really like Marth's voice. I prefer. I miss the Japanese.
And Cloud not having English voice.
Again, I think that has to do with Square and getting him last, and probably.
But they didn't get it. Yeah.
And then Square just being really stingy about how their character gets portrayed and stuff. So
I don't get it.
it's weird. I would have kept Marth and Roy having their Japanese voices just
or at least having the option to have Marth and Roy speak English or Japanese.
Yeah. I think you can, but you have to change the whole game to Japanese. I think. I haven't tried it. I'm assuming that works.
Yeah, I'd rather just stick with English and just be like, I'll have to get used to this.
I'll just deal with it. Yeah.
Because I don't want everyone else to be Japanese.
So I was glad they changed Fox's voice. I really hated Fox's voice in Smash 4.
They just change everyone's voices all the time.
Yeah. But Fox's voice in Smash 4 was it was really nasally and whiny. It was like, fire, fire. I couldn't stand it. So
I don't even remember
I'm glad it's not great, but it's not as bad.
Fire!
Yeah, fire! I was like, that's Fox? It doesn't sound like Fox.
I remember in college, but this was back in the Brawl days, with college, there was Falco's taunt of hands off my prey, and one of my friends started cracking up laughing because he said it sounded like he was saying crepe instead of prey. So we basically from that point on just always said, hands off my crepe. And that's what it became. So now that's so ingrained in me that I almost expect him to say crepe sometimes. When he says prey, I get thrown off.
I like this final Smash where it was like, personally, I prefer the air or whatever, and then the Landmaster would happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Landmaster!
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun in this thing. I am glad
they brought that Landmaster too, which didn't make sense. The Landmaster was a funny thing about Brawl. Oh well.
Is it just me, or did they change Ganondorf's voice too?
Yeah, I think so. I prefer everything they did with Ganon, though. I like his Ocarina of Time look and everything.
Except for the voice, because it doesn't even sound like the Ocarina of Time voice. I think Ganondorf had the same voice actor since then, since Ocarina of Time, and in the Smash games. So to have a Ganondorf representing all the way back to Ocarina of Time, but then having a different voice just throws me off. I'm just like, what? They had the audio. They could have just kept it,
I've noticed the difference, but I haven't. I don't mind it. I don't know why.
Yeah,
it doesn't bug me.
It's not too bad, but for someone like me who has heard that voice for so long and sometimes imitated it, I would just do the yell sometimes, and it doesn't sound like that anymore, so it throws me off personally.
I get you.
But in general, it's fine. It sounds very similar. I just don't know why they would change it, because he doesn't even talk. He kind of just laughs. It's like this thing with Mewtwo.
Like, yes, and stuff,
yeah, it's like the thing with Mewtwo. They never changed his voice.
Right.
In fact, in Melee, in Japan, he actually spoke dialogue, but for the English one, they just took out the Japanese dialogue, so he just does the grunts. And still to this day, they use the same audio. And they do the same for, like, Ice Climbers and stuff, too, I guess. But why would they go out of their way to change the voice of a character who, like, it did match their original incarnation? It's like, you know what, let's change him to match his original incarnation. And rather than reuse the same voice that was for his original incarnation, let's do a new one. It's like, why?
Yeah, and that's the weird decisions, too, that are, like... I feel like that's Nintendo of America, but you know what might happen is that maybe Twilight Princess Ganondorf and Ocarina of Time Ganondorf have different voice actors in Japan, and so
but I think it's the same Japanese voice actor. Since in the old games there was no voice acting, I think they just reused the grunts and sounds from the Japanese cast.
Because the only way I could like justify why they do it is because for a specific reason it changed in Japan. Like they got the Ocarina of Time Ganondorf back or something, and then when they sent the game over to Nintendo of America for localization, they didn't send them the Ganondorf voices because they were like, "Oh, you got to re-record those because it's Ocarina of Time Ganon." It's like, "Oh, that's the same one." So I guess we need to re-record those. Couldn't get the guy from last time, and for whatever reason didn't have the sound files because maybe Japan didn't send them over, so they recorded it with someone new. I mean, that's the only way I can think of it happening, but I could be totally wrong. I don't know. So
what I'm wondering is if the reasoning is because the next Zelda game we get will have that voice actor for Ganondorf.
Or that it's possible that somewhere in the Zelda department they've hired a new Ganondorf for something in the future that we don't know about. So
the only strange thing is that they changed, like, because they're using the Zelda and Link from different games, so they changed Zelda. I was assuming because it was a younger Zelda. But maybe they could reuse that voice. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm at a loss. That's the weird decisions Nintendo of America like gets to make when they localize stuff, and it oftentimes baffles me. So,
oh man. Although I am curious what kind of DLC we're going to get in the future, assuming we go past Fighter Pass 1. I heard that I think you had mentioned it in a video too, that they reduced the number of slots for potential DLC.
Not exactly. So what happened was the 30 slot like original data mine is still there, but that was for I think like character. I'm not a data miner, so don't totally quote me on this. I think that's for like the character select screen or full amount of fighters the game. I don't know where they saw that number of 30, but that was for like possible DLC characters. But the 16 slots comes from amount of characters for World of Light. So, and Piranha Plant occupies one of those slots already, so that would leave 15, which means 5 for this Fighter Pass with 10 blank slots for World of Light, which could be 2 more Fighter Passes. So that's, again, totally, who knows? That's very speculation based on a data mine. And that might just be as arbitrary as I was thinking. The 30 slots were probably just in case they want to do more. It's possible the 10 extra slots after the first Fighter Pass are just in case they want to do more. But it's also possible it could indicate 2 more Fighter Passes, which since that's a reasonable amount of more Fighter Passes, I think could be true. But I don't know for sure, obviously.
Yeah. Now, I know we were both, under the... we both agreed on this being our assumptions that chances are, if they're planning future Fighter Passes, they may include characters that are spirits now, but the reason certain characters became spirits, and probably those characters won't be DLC in the first Fighter Pass, is probably because they were maybe planned during the game. So characters like Gino and Shantae won't be in Fighter Pass 1, but that doesn't mean they can't be in a future one. I'm wondering... That's
always how I looked at it.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if the reverse is possible, where that was for, by the end of the game, and then for the DLC, they're like, yeah, we can use a spirit.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible. It's all a matter of when they decided the DLC and when they decided the spirits. You know, it seems more likely that if this first fighter pass was chosen at the same time when they were creating the game, that like it seems likely that all the characters and whatever the fighter passes have probably already been chosen. And if they were chosen while they were making the game, it makes sense that they didn't put in characters that were going to eventually be DLC if they knew that. So they put those characters in other places like assist trophies and spirits, especially. But as far as if they have, future DLC that they haven't chosen yet, I don't think they'd limit themselves. I think they'd possibly dip into spirits and stuff. But totally, again, speculation, trying to figure out what Nintendo would maybe be thinking. I don't know. It's completely possible in this first fighter pass we could get a spirit character as playable, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, what I want them to do is make an assist trophy DLC to just blow everyone's mind and say that, like, anybody can become DLC,
So what would be really cool is that, like, if this first fighter pass was, like, let's say it's all third-party characters, and then maybe the second fighter pass could be spirits, and the last one could be
assist trophies.
Assist trophies, like that would be cool.
That'd
if they were
be
all
cool.
themed like that. That'd be totally cool.
Because there's a
but
handful you could take from each.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
There's great third parties, there's great spirits, and there's great assist trophies.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people might be happy with that.
Yeah, I don't. Again, totally speculation. I don't know if that's. I don't even know if more fighter passes are going to happen. So who knows? But it would be cool if they themed them.
Yeah, I think that assist trophies or spirits could be third party too, though.
Yeah. I mean, it could definitely, double dip.
Like first fighter pass will get characters like Banjo-Kazooie and just third parties that kind of deserve to be on, and then second fighter pass will see. Yeah, second fighter pass will see like Gino and Shantae among like 3 other spirits, and then
like Rayman. So I don't know
Rayman.
What other spirits
and then third fighter pass will see assist trophies like Skull Kid and maybe Waluigi and Shadow and Isaac. And,
or Shovel Knight, or there's a lot of good trophies. So.
Actually, that would be a perfect 5. I think would make a lot of people happy, because those are some of the highly requested ones. Probably
the most requested ones.
There might be a couple here and there. I know a lot of people wanted Ashley too.
Yeah, Ashley's cool, and I think Ash. The thing is, there's like, it's weird. I have characters that like I wanted base game, because they just seemed like they might like happen and it would be cool. And now that it's like DLC, especially if they were to open up, assist trophies and stuff like that, it's like it'd be tough to pick 5 assist trophies because there's like definitely like 10 I want.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if you had to pick 5, I'm sure you could come up with 5.
Yeah, off the top of my head, it probably would have been those 5 that we mentioned at the beginning. Honestly, I think those are probably the best ones.
Although I feel like a handful of those assist trophies would be echoes, and so people, or they would probably want to pick the ones that wouldn't be echoes, like Shadow. So
Shadow wouldn't be
Shadow, maybe Guile, although he is different enough in his own game. But I don't know. I think certain characters on the surface might not be chosen because they might not be unique enough.
Right. That's also a possibility for a theme for a fighter pass too. Would be Echo Fighters, because I know Sakurai said this first fighter pass isn't Echo Fighters, but if let's say there is 10 more characters after this, if 5 of those 10 more characters were Echoes, could even make this seem way more reasonable and realistic to happen.
You know what I could see happening that would be a little disappointing? If, since Echoes are supposedly easier to make, if the Echo Pass was 10 characters, and then you're kind of like, oh, that's all 15.
Yeah, also, so there's 2 ways on that. One way, it is easier to make them. So 10 seems like, well, it's 10 easier to make characters. So 10 doesn't seem like such a daunting number. But you also need to have 10 characters that could be echoes of characters we already have.
Yeah,
that might be tough to figure out, or at least by the end you might be dipping into characters that are like, I don't really know if this character deserves to be in Smash. Yeah, it works as an echo, but like, do they really deserve it?
That makes you wonder if you can have 2 echoes for 1 character.
Or that
we don't have that now, and I kind of feel like people would get annoyed if you have more than one.
Right.
Because people kind of accepted Echo Fighters, whereas they didn't. Because before they were kind of like seen as, oh, a waste of a slot. And now they're kind of seen as like an alternate method to use a character. And I feel
in a way to get a character in that otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah, so I feel like adding more echoes to one character kind of overdoes it a bit.
Yeah, because then you have a lot. Also, there's this, like, if I hit the random button, like if I'm fighting against the computer, or I pick the random button, I have, twice as much of a chance to get Marth Lucina or Pit and Dark Pit, as I do other characters. And, but conversely, if we did get 10 Echo Fighters, as much as I wouldn't necessarily want these characters to be Echoes, I would, like Sonic can have Shadow, Tails, and Knuckles.
Yeah, true.
It could happen. I'd want them represented differently.
Being a Sonic fan, I'm confused and slightly irritated that Knuckles has a homing attack.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, why?
Yeah. I mean, okay. I don't know. They did some weird stuff. And again, I wouldn't really want those characters represented as Echoes, but if I had 10 spots to put Echoes in, and I wanted, characters I do want in Smash in some way as playable, I might be filling it up with a lot of Sonic Echoes.
Well, here's the thing: if we're restricted to each character can only have one Echo, then you got to look at who doesn't have an Echo, and then it kind of becomes a fun little game of deciding what's the best Echo for this character.
Yeah, and that would be really cool. Like if we did get a fighter pass and they up front said these will all be Echo Fighters, so we knew we were getting like 5 Echo Fighters. It would be fun to, speculate like that, because that's what you'd be doing.
Can you imagine if the entire roster had an Echo Fighter, so we just doubled the roster?
It'd be cool.
That'd be cool, but it would also be crazy.
Yeah, and there's some characters that would be, again, the Echo Fighter would feel, I don't know what the word would be, but not deserving, maybe, because you're just gonna pull some characters,
certain ones,
more because it works and less because that character should have an Echo Fighter. So
how about Tatanga for Bowser Jr.?
Yeah, so you could do that,
and then Wily for Bowser Jr., and then Eggman for Bowser Jr.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I'd almost rather have multiple characters that fit on a single fighter.
Yeah, true.
That are good characters like Dr. Wily and Robotnik than like trying to figure out, okay, Bowser Jr. can only have one Echo Fighter, and we got to figure out who the hell like K. Rool's Echo Fighter could be.
Well, there are characters that kind of fit the body type but might not fit the actual moveset. Like I can see King Wart being King K. Rool or Bowser, but the moveset doesn't work.
Yeah, and then you also have the problem of, can I pull characters? I mean, I guess Wart, you could argue Donkey Kong is part of the Mario series or something, but at some point you're definitely going to be pulling. At some point, you're definitely going to be pulling Echo Fighters that are not from that series.
I guess technically, I don't know if Mario Bros. Or Donkey Kong came first in the arcade, but I guess one is technically a spin-off of the other.
Right. Yeah.
So in a sense, Mario is the most. He's probably the most well-known and successful spin-off character.
Yeah. I mean, if he's technically a spin-off of Donkey Kong, which he might
ever sees him as that, but I think he is a spin-off character from Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I mean, even technically, like I'm pretty sure Game & Watch and like the Game & Watch characters eventually evolved into Mario. So
yeah,
at some point they started naming the big-nosed protagonist guy that they keep sticking in their games.
So he's his ancestor almost.
Yeah, essentially, or like a weird, less evolved Shadow Mario guy. Like that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I could see King. I mean, King Wart doesn't really do anything but move back and forth and shoot bubbles, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably give him a moveset based on stuff from Mario 2, but
I think that he can be an echo of Bowser. Whereas instead of fire, he'll shoot a stream of bubbles, and then the rest of the moves can be the same plus one or two from a different character. Maybe like, I don't know, like instead, because he doesn't have a shell to spin, so
right, yeah, you have to give some shell moves.
His up B could be like like DDD's jump and pound, because a lot of Mario characters pound, you know?
Yeah.
And he's a frog, so you would think he would jump high.
Jump move, like Yoshi kind of has that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything else, right? I think he just shoots bubbles. I don't remember.
I think, yeah, I mean, I have not, I've probably beat Mario 2 like once. And I mean, I've probably seen people fighting a war a few times here and there, but I don't watch it that often. So I know he shoots bubbles. I don't know what else he does, if he does anything else.
Well, I think Wart would be, I mean, because Crom showed us that you can be an Echo and then have like another character's move.
Right.
So I can see Wart being Bowser's with bubbles instead of fire, and then like a different up B.
Yeah.
Because I can see him using the I mean,
that's how I wanted
the down B, the down B ground pound, and the forward B grab, because they're very like almost anyone could do that, especially from a Mario series.
Yeah, definitely. And that's always how I looked at like Dixie Kong, who I'm shocked we don't have yet. Like just Echo Fighter of Diddy, but her up B is Donkey Kong's spin, but with her hair.
Yeah,
that's literally all it needs to be in the bubble gum instead of the peanuts.
That was like the first Echo I thought of.
Yeah, and it didn't have. It's weird. Dixie Kong and Shadow always seemed like locks, and we didn't get them.
I know.
So like once again, maybe we are getting more fighters at some point, more fighter passes, and maybe we'll get more Echoes, because Echoes, it's so weird. They like came up with a term for it and added a few and did some weird things, like Crom has moves from other characters, but it just feels so underutilized. Yeah. Like I really expected pretty much double the Echo fighters we got.
I can see Dixie with the bubblegum instead of the peanut shooter, but like whereas Diddy you can charge the gun. With Dixie, like she doesn't charge it, she just spits a bubble out, and it's always the same thing.
Yeah, it could
be more of a consistent,
doesn't have the explosion quality.
Yeah, more of a consistent projectile. However, I can also see if they did do a charge, the explosion would be the bubble exploding on her face. You know? And then she would have gum all over her face. I think that would be a great
funny thing to animate.
Yeah,
and it could work exactly the same, but you could have that different animation, which is a big part of Echoes.
Like a bubble popped on her face.
Yeah, that would look great too.
I just don't know what charging a bubble. You know what? Maybe it would make the bubble bigger.
Yeah, you could do it could be a little bubble, and it could be a big one, and that could be the difference.
Yeah. And maybe like it's possible it could go in an arc, since maybe it'll float.
Yeah, or it could be slow, like you know, like Pac-Man's projectiles like float.
Like, maybe it might even stay in place, almost like a mine, and then like pop on its own.
Yeah, it could stick to the ground or stick to a surface and then just like sit there.
I could see that being pretty unique. That and then Donkey Kong's up B, and
that's enough to like make her unique enough that she'd have, you know, she'd fall somewhere else in the tiers list. Like she'd have a different play style enough, and honestly not be that hard to. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a programmer, but I assume not that hard to make if it's an Echo Fighter, and most of it is just copying over Diddy and changing, you know, 2 B moves. So
yeah, I still really want to see Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, same. Me too. I'm hopeful with all this Nintendo, Microsoft stuff that keeps popping up.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting there.
Yeah, same. So fingers crossed.
I think Joker was really the what's the word I'm looking for? Like random, like out of nowhere character. I'm
surprising. It surprised me.
I was almost hoping to have like an out of nowhere character in the form of like what? Like I don't know, like Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh or something. It's just like whoa, what?
It was just like, oh my god, what? How did that happen?
Like and I know he's not first a video game character, so he wouldn't, you know, they probably wouldn't use him. But I think of like Jump Superstars on the DS. And how it was very Smash based, so I know like a lot of his moves were summoning monsters, and I'm just like thinking of those characters from that game, and like I imagine if like a Shonen Jump character was thrown in as like a WTF character, and you're like, whoa, what?
I feel like the whole Erdrick thing too. If it does happen, if we do get a Dragon Quest character, it is Erdrick. I do feel like part of it might literally be because so many people want a Goku. Like,
yeah, but I still don't think those people would be satisfied.
No, probably not. But I could see that maybe starting the train of thought in Nintendo of like, oh wait, what if we represented Dragon Quest? Oh yeah, that would be cool actually, because you know, we could get that like look, or maybe I could also see Erdrick's trailer like starting off with just showing like a close up of like his eye or his face, and it like is like, oh, what is Goku in Smash, and then just zooms out or something.
Yeah. I can also see it being like an afterthought as a reason to really do Dragon Quest, like maybe they're in talks with Dragon Quest, and then someone else was like, oh, people really wanted Goku, so you know, maybe this will satisfy them. And then people in the deal are like, oh, yeah, now we really need it. Like, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's...
And it's like... And you're just like, oh.
Yeah, it could have been one of those, like, say they're at Square and they're writing down the, like, pros and cons of available characters. You know, what should we pick? That might have been one of the,
I could see
the
them,
pros that they thought of.
I can see them really thinking it's a pro and everyone seeing it as a con. Like they're like really genuinely like, oh yeah, people will really be excited, like, and then everyone's like, what? Where's Goku? Like the people who wanted Goku be like, this doesn't satisfy.
This doesn't satisfy us. And the people who didn't want Goku in the game are like,
yeah,
we didn't want this.
Yeah, it would cause more of a divide because the people who didn't want Goku will be like, it's like, you got your Goku, okay?
Yeah,
you know? It's like so it's actually kind of like making the rift bigger.
Yeah,
they're like,
well, maybe pros and cons wasn't the right terminology, but I could see Sakurai sitting there negotiating a character and maybe just in the back of his mind being like, hey, this is kind of funny because it's sort of like a man in Goku. Like,
yeah. I can also kind of see Sakurai as like the only one at the table knowing it's not good, but like not having the choice to decide.
Yeah, supposedly Nintendo chose the character, or at least Nintendo...
They chose the list, and then
they chose the list, and Sakurai chose from the list what was available. And the list may be like, here's the 5 games we've chosen. You're doing these 5 games. Pick the character. So
yeah, that's true. We don't know if the list was a list of fighters or a list of series, and you could pick a character from the series.
Right.
But I'm also kind of concerned that any future Fighter Pass will be restricted to that same list.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you have a list of 20 characters and we have 3 Fighter Passes. Like, well, I guess most of the list is going to be you. You know, it's like,
right.
It's
yeah,
like,
that's possible.
So that's a little disappointing if that's
the case. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, the list may be also like just all I can speculate on is Joker and the rumors of like Erdrick and Steve and Banjo and stuff. So it's possible this first Fighter Pass is all third party and no spirits, no assist trophies, whatever. Just, you know, going on that. It doesn't have to be that, but you know, that seems the more likely case. If that is the case, it might be, here's a list of like the companies we can work with, or we want, you know, these third parties or these series or whatever, and Sakurai to choose from that. Yep. Whereas future Fighter Passes might open up, like we said before, the opportunity to be like, all right, let's get Bandana Waddle Dee in, let's get Gino in, let's get Shantae in, let's get Rayman in, you know, stuff that's already in the game that isn't now restricted to that.
I don't want to say that Sakurai doesn't deserve it, because obviously he does, but I feel like maybe it's a test, or it was a test for him from Nintendo, saying, like, we'll choose the first pass, and based on your success with our list, we'll let you have more freedom with the next pass.
With the next one, yeah.
I'm wondering if that's a decision on Nintendo's part.
Yeah, or it might have even been always in their mind to be like, okay, we're going to have like a couple Fighter Passes, but Nintendo wants the one that they chose to come out first because it has to do with making deals with other companies, and they want to be able to get that revenue back as soon as possible, whereas they're not so sure things are going to sell so well, you know, a year from now or 2 years from now when the game is quote unquote older, you know, whatever. Like, so that may have, obviously we're speculating big time about what's happening behind the scenes.
Now,
but yeah.
How would you feel if the 5th fighter was another Mii fighter? Like a new Mii fighter? Like Mii Sorcerer?
I'll put it this way. If another new Mii fighter had gotten in, I know people were talking about like a mage or magic.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying, sorcerer, but you know.
Yeah, whatever they call it. I'm totally fine with that. I think that's pretty cool.
What are the 3 called? They're Brawler and then
Sword Fighter and Gunner.
Okay, I wasn't sure the exact terminology.
Yeah, Sword Fighter is kind of weird. I almost wish they went with Fencer just to keep it one word, but
I mean, it is one word. or they made it one word, but
Yeah, it's like a hyphenated. I don't know.
yeah,
Um,
it's like add fighter to anything. Like me, fruit fighter.
yeah, pillow fighter.
Me,
Like,
pillow
okay.
fighter.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Me, sports fighter.
Yeah, I don't know what they do for magic. Sorcerer fits probably the best because it ends with the
Yeah, and it's also like unique enough.
Yeah,
You know, because it would have more stuff from like maybe Robin and maybe like Ness and Lucas. However, the Gunner does have the fire projectile thing.
yeah. Gunner has. I mean, they basically made Gunner the projectile one. Brawler's the hand-to-hand
But a
combat one.
spellcaster or sorcerer could be a mix anyway.
Yeah,
Like close range spells.
but anyway, as far as putting sorcerer in as one of our 5 DLC fighters, I have to say
I'd be annoyed.
Yeah, I'd be annoyed too. It's literally just because of the limited number of spots.
I would love it as a freebie like Piranha Plant was.
Yes, if they added, so I would love like Echo Fighters as freebies, or even as just separate from the fighter pass.
Yeah, I'll give like $1 or $2 like for that.
Yeah,
I would give
like
$5 for an Echo Fighter.
Yeah, it would be totally fine and cool with me. But
I mean,
whether or not
for them, it should be easier to make, and making it cheap enough will mean a lot of people will probably buy it. So I think they could profit from making Echo Fighters.
They could make bank from Echo Fighters if they made Echo Fighters like they did with me costumes last time. Mm-hmm. They could make a lot of money. I feel like, or a lot of people would download most of that. If they made a ton of Echo Fighters and just had them, or maybe not even a ton, but like a good amount of Echo Fighters, but added them that way, which again could be what those extra 10 spots are. Maybe we're getting 5 DLC fighters, like you said, 10 Echo Fighters, but maybe they're not fighter passes. They're some cheaper thing like me costumes. But yeah, I'd be cool with that. I mean, the more characters, the happier I am, honestly.
Me podcaster.
There you go. Me YouTuber.
Me YouTuber.
This sounds like like a caveman telling somebody I'm a YouTuber.
Me singer.
You something else.
You dead. Me singer. You dead. You sleep. We'd have like the Jigglypuff moves. Me singer.
They made a whole me fighter, and all it is just it plays like Jigglypuff.
A me fighter pass.
Yeah, or
just 5 new.
I don't know if they can think of enough of them that people would want to buy.
I'm
but
sure Sakurai could. Just random stuff like me bomber.
I'll throw it out there. I'd probably be a little mad at a me fighter pass.
I mean, I would too, but like,
there'd be like 5 spots taken up.
I could
by
see
characters.
Sakurai thinking like it's genius, and
we'll get every character
everyone's gonna love this. Everyone's gonna love this.
He'd have to make a ton of me costumes.
Yeah.
I'll tell him that. He'd have to make a ton of me costumes.
A Bomberman me costumes for a me bomber, and like,
but like who else? Like,
I don't know.
But who else would fit that one? It'd be tough.
Like the chorus kids or characters from that series for like a me singer, and I could see him being like, "Yeah, everyone's gonna love this," and then when it's announced, everyone's like, "Ah!"
I'll put it this way: if it was between getting 5 different me, new me fighters, or 1 new unique character, I'd go for the 1 new unique character. So,
wait, what was that? A new me character versus what?
If I'd go with 1 new unique character over getting a whole 5 fighter pass of new me fighters.
Yeah, I would buy a new me character and not be annoyed, but a pass of them would probably be annoying.
It would signify like, sweet, we're getting a new fighter pass. Oh, never mind. I don't care. I mean, yes, I care. I'd buy them. I'd probably play as them. And I'd probably enjoy it, but it would totally kill my whole I love speculating characters. I love seeing new characters in Smash, and it would be no one's getting in.
Now, are there any newcomers you'd like to see that are only purely Nintendo owned?
Yeah, definitely. So what comes to mind, mostly just because I've speculated about them, are like Porky and Silex, because they're missing
Oh
spirits.
yeah.
But there's others too. Masked Man, I really want from Mother 3.
Does he
Waddle
play
Dee or Bandana Waddle Dee.
Would he play differently enough from Lucas?
Would Masked Man?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Masked Man has wings. He's got a beam sword. He's got an arm cannon. He's way different. He'd have, honestly, one of the main reasons I'd want him so much is because his moveset could be really cool.
Okay.
And he uses like Psy attacks. So yeah, he has a lot going on. Trying to think of what other purely Nintendo characters. There's ones that like like Ashley, who's an assist trophy, which I'm more wary about assist trophies being upgraded. Same with Isaac. Chibi Robo's cool. There's a ton of just vanilla Nintendo characters that aren't playable yet. Waluigi, obviously. Dixie Kong, we already talked about. Yeah, Captain Toad. Though I think if they had called Peach and Toad like they did Rosalina and Luma, I'd probably be satisfied with Toad being in the game.
Yeah, although he is a different Toad, right?
Yeah. I think Captain Toad's like a specific one, which is how I represent like Toad, whereas the one that Peach uses, I think, is just like generic Toad. But whatever, it's in there. I consider Toad like sort of playable at this point.
Yeah, I guess so. He's also in Daisy's, right?
Yeah, he's in Daisy's moveset as well, yeah.
Unless they do an Ice Climber duo with Captain Toad and Toadette.
Yeah, that would be cool, too.
In her final smash, she turns into Peachette.
Yeah.
And she's like an invincible Peach that uses Captain Toad as a counter.
Yeah. Captain Toad could have a really cool, unique moveset, and I'm all for that character. I guess my thing is just as far as, like, who isn't represented in the roster, I'm like 50-50 on Toad. I'd love to get Captain Toad, but I'm not desperate to get him because he's already in Peach's moveset. It's sort of like where Waddle Dee was when King Dedede used him more, but now that King Dedede doesn't use him that much, I think Bandana D would... And Bandana D has, again, like Captain Toad, a really cool moveset because he has a spear. Captain Toad has, like, the pickaxe and could throw... vegetables and split himself into like two characters with that power up he gets, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with him.
I'm just like thinking about characters from series that are already in the game, and if we took if we were to get newcomers or echoes, just in general, I'm just like thinking of just like pure Nintendo characters. I know a lot of people would want Skull Kid.
Yeah. Oh, geez. That totally went over my head. Zelda characters. I could probably think of like 5 like solid Zelda characters.
Yeah, because since Melee, I should say since Brawl added Toon Link, there's been a whole bunch of
replacement for Young Link.
Zelda games. They what?
I said Toon Link was almost like a replacement for Young Link.
Yeah.
So it really feels like it's been since they added like Zelda Sheik Ganondorf. Like, it feels like we haven't gotten a new Zelda character.
Yeah.
So...
and we've had plenty of Zelda games since then. Like, we can definitely add in a few new Zelda characters from popular ones. We have the Guardians from... Or were they called Guardians from Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
And I know they're all 4 of them, or at least a few of them are very popular. I really like Sidon. He's awesome.
Prince you Sidon. Mean... So, sorry, the Guardians were the big robots.
I meant
you're talking about that. No, they're the champions.
Champions, yeah. That's what I meant. And then I really liked Sidon. Like, I thought he was cool. He was like a total bro.
Yeah, I thought what would be really cool with the champions is if they somehow did like a Pokemon trainer thing with all 4. I know that's like an intensive character to make, but it would be really cool.
Yeah. I think that, like, Pokemon Trainer is complicated enough in that sense. Like, I don't want a character that's going to be switching forms. And I think that the intention was to make Pokemon Trainer one character by giving them the downfall of being forced to switch them, and then they kind of just caved in and was like, you know what, we'll just get rid of that. And I don't think we're gonna see any more form switching characters.
Yeah, I
think
doubt it.
Pokemon Trainer was kind of it.
Yeah, I doubt it as well, especially because they got rid of it with Zelda and Sheik and Zero Suit Samus and Samus don't really do it anymore. I don't think.
I feel like they only did it with Pokemon Trainer because the trainer himself is a character that needed to return.
Right. And I think it's also like it's a unique gimmick to Pokemon Trainer.
I think it works for that character, but if I see more characters that switch between them, I'd be like, they should just be their own characters, you know?
Yeah, it causes
because Pokemon
problems.
themselves are in a team, so it kind of works. So.
It causes some problems. Kind of the same thing with like adding more characters that are Ice Climber like. Yeah. I guess Rosalina kind of did that.
That's cool because they're both there at the same time. But having to switch between, which is kind of what I'm afraid of if we get Shantae playable, her having to switch between forms kind of is a little, I don't know, awkward to me. And I really think her transformations work best as smash attacks.
Yeah, I like the idea of smash attacks. I think that's the better way.
Because it's like it's just quick and instant, and like it automatically will revert back for you, so you don't have to worry about controlling a new moveset.
Right. And again, with the champions, creating whole new movesets, like Pokemon Trainer is 3 different characters. If you put the champions in that way, it would be 4 like, you know, it's 4 spots. Like, it's 4 whole characters they had to make.
Yeah.
But the
unless they all played exactly the same, and
unless they somehow did that just with different body types or something, you know, I don't know.
Unless you played as like unless technically you were an item, and all 4 of them like would come out and do moves, kind of like like Rivali's Gale would be the up B.
Yeah, it would almost work better if we had. Not that I want to add another.
Slate is the character, and like the 4.
Right. You know? Not that I want to add another Link, but the idea would be you take Link and you keep him like Twilight Princess, whatever, classic Link, and then you make a Breath of the Wild Link that uses the Sheikah Slate moves and the champion moves. Though I don't really want to add another Link. It kind of reminds me of, there was an idea too to do
I don't mind
like
another
Cappy
Link if he's...
as a character from Mario Odyssey, and have him in his attacks turn into like a Boo and a Goomba and a, you know, whatever.
That'd be cool.
Like,
although it doesn't make sense because there's no enemy to actually take over.
Right. So it would be weird.
You can argue the same thing about where's Toad coming from in Peach's move. So
yeah, I mean, they do weird stuff like that in Smash, but yeah, it is a little weird with Cappy because he's supposed to, you know, take over certain things.
Piranha Plant kind of opens the door to some cool regular enemies. Like, although there's obviously more deserving characters in these series, like in Zelda, for instance, there's still a lot of main characters that are more deserving. But it would be cool if we had to choose a regular enemy, like seeing an Iron Knuckle or like a Wizrobe or something.
Yeah.
Like, I know it would be annoying because I would personally prefer a new main character that like I'm attached to, whether it's Skull Kid or a champion, or even like Vati or Onyx or Varen, or there's just like so many.
I mean, Hyrule Warriors had so many characters. Like Impa, I really want. Too. That's a. I mean, Echo Fighter for Cheek Impa. I thought that was going to happen. Didn't happen.
Girahim is a assist trophy, but I can even see Zant being like a.
Yep.
You know, there's just so many Zelda characters, but like if they chose a regular enemy from Zelda,
Piranha Plant did open the door for regular enemies. We'll throw that out there. I would have preferred if Piranha Plant was honestly like Cappy, if it was a ton of Mario enemies that you were transforming between. That I think that would have been. I think the fan base would have accepted it better. I'll put it that way.
I can see at the table or whatever table, developer table for Piranha Plant, and when they're like, it's like Sakurai like really wants a regular enemy, and Piranha Plant comes up, and then like Sakurai's like Piranha Plant, and they're all thinking like, and they're thinking of all the different Piranha Plants, and they're naming them all, and they're like, well, which one? And then there's a pause, and Sakurai's just like, all of them. And then they're like,
combine them all.
Yes. So I'm wondering if there's enemies from other series that they could combine.
I mean, that's sort of the thing with, I know Bandana Waddle Dee is like his own guy now, but technically Waddle Dees are, you know, like
hey, if Piranha Plant could get in, then I could now see Bandana D getting in, because the argument against him was what people would say, oh, it's Hat Goomba, like they make fun of him for being, you know. But like now that we have Piranha Plant, it's like, so so we have Piranha Plant, you know. And I don't really care too much for Bandana D, but now since we have Piranha Plant, I don't care if they put him in, because it makes sense to me. Like, well, if we could have Piranha Plant, why not have at least a more important enemy?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, so like me personally, like I like Captain Toad, I like Bandana D. I'm not, I hate to sound like salty or something like that, but from if I was in control of Smash point of view, I wouldn't have put in Piranha Plant. I would have put in characters that are a bit more characters than generic enemies, which I always felt, Captain Toad or even just Toad kind of goes over that line. Same with Bandana Waddle D. They've kind of taken that step from being a generic thing that there's a lot of to one that has been singularly playable in games.
Although I gotta say, Smash has made me enjoy characters that I didn't really care about in the past.
That too, though. I mean, so again, I don't want to sound salty because I do. Like I
like
Piranha Plant. I actually do think he's a kind of cool fighter.
Yeah, but
it's
before
just like,
I would have not put him in. But now that he's already in,
and I also
now that he's already in, you like him. But
right, and but also if I had the, again, go back to square one before the game comes out, I probably would have chosen somebody else for that spot. but whatever. Doesn't mean I hate the character. No, just I know not how I would have handled it.
Yeah. There was another character I was just thinking of too. Back when Sun and Moon came out, like, Incineroar was my least favorite starter, and now thanks to Smash Bros, I think he's like hilarious. Like,
Smash Bros gave Incineroar more personality.
Yeah, now I really like Incineroar because of Smash Bros, and I'm actually really happy about that, because I was always a little bit personally disappointed that I didn't like Incineroar, because I was like, he just doesn't do it for me. He just seems like this goofy dunce, like, fight, whatever.
It was a weird character.
But Smash Bros made me like him for that goofiness. It's like, okay, I could see him being fun now. Like, so now I'm happy that I could finally like Incineroar, because he makes me laugh now. I'm like, okay, like he's always posing. I'm like, the personality that Sakurai gave Incineroar in Smash made me love Incineroar as a Pokemon now, where I used to just think like, whatever.
I totally agree. Incineroar, not my favorite addition to Smash by any means this time around and everything, especially with a kind of tight amount of newcomers. I like him much more after Smash than I did before Smash.
Yeah, definitely.
I wanted Decidueye. I thought Decidueye had a better personality, a more unique character, etc., etc. Or Sceptile.
I could say that about so many Smash characters there. Like, I didn't play a game series before, so I didn't care too much. But like, even Earthbound, I never played Earthbound, and I would eventually like to play it, but I just didn't care about it. And like, Smash made me enjoy Ness and Lucas a bit more. And same with obviously Incineroar, because I just said that. Even Piranha Plant. Now, I always thought his design as an enemy was cool, but now I just think he's cool. Now that he's in the game.
Yeah, there's definitely more of a love for him.
Yeah, even Duck Hunt, I'm like, wow, you revived Duck Hunt. Like, he's cool now.
I'm over here. I thought Duck Hunt was. I wanted Duck Hunt for Brawl. I remember when that was brought up, because I remember playing Melee and Game & Watch was like the retro characters, like Game & Watch and Ice Climbers, and for Brawl I wanted the retro characters to be Little Mac and Duck Hunt, and I was so happy in Smash 4 when both those got in. I was always behind Duck Hunt.
At the time when Rob was added in Brawl.
And Rob, that's the other thing. I wanted Little Mac and Duck Hunt, and we got Rob for Brawl, which was not who I wanted. Not that I don't like Rob, I just was not. I didn't have a Rob as a kid. I had very little knowledge of Rob until he got in Smash.
But at the time, Nintendo was going through this Rob revival phase where, like, they put Rob
in Mario Kart?
Yeah, in Mario Kart, they put him in Smash. I feel like he was probably in a couple other things too, but they were really, like, pushing Rob, and then they dropped it. Like,
they didn't do anything with him. Yeah, it was really weird.
It was which strange.
Again, and like they put Rob in Brawl, and Little Mac was just an assist trophy, and then they made a new Punch-Out for Wii, and then Mac got in, and I was so baffled, because Mac was... So my most wanted characters for Smash, from the beginning of me speculating about what characters I want for Smash...
Me speculator!
Yeah, was Geno, Little Mac, and Banjo-Kazooie. Those were my top 3, and I pretty much wanted them all, honestly, pretty equally. Those were all the characters I wanted. And I got Mac, at least, though he's like kind of the worst character in this game, which is
really
painful. I'm hoping they buff him. I'm glad he's at least the worst at the beginning of the game, so that hopefully it can get addressed and they'll buff him a bit. But yeah, I'm just still waiting on Geno and Banjo
I
now.
still suck with Bayonetta.
Do you?
See, I like her as a character, so that's what made me want to use her. Not because I saw people like being really cheesy with her, but like just because I liked her as a character. And even before she came out, I remember talking to a friend of mine. I was like, you know, it'd be cool, Bayonetta. I was like, I could really like if she was in there, like really sit down and want to like learn her, because like Bayonetta is such an awesome game. And then she came out, and I was like, I can't play as her. And then I kind of just dropped her after that. And
everybody who picked her was like, oh, you're just being cheap picking Bayonetta. And I felt bad because I have some friends who, like you say, they love. I mean, I like Bayonetta too, but you know, it wasn't like, you know, my character kind of thing. But I have some friends who that is like a game they really love, a character they really wanted, and yeah, they've had to sit with either her being really, really broken, or in the new game, she's just tough to play. I don't think she's bad, but she's, you know, tougher.
But even when she was cheap in Smash 4, I couldn't use her. Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around comboing with her.
Oh, really?
It was just like too difficult to like. I would kill myself all the time, and just like anyone I played would just like destroy me immediately, because I just like I couldn't use her. I didn't understand. Oh, wow. Her. So I was like disappointed.
I've always found her just really broken in Smash 4 anyway. And kind of easy to play, but I mean, maybe it just clicks with me.
You'd kick my ass if I used Bayonetta, probably. I mean, I would love to just like sit down and like practice a bit more with her, but I remember actually actively attempting to do that in the last Smash game, and I just was like, I don't get it.
That's kind of how I feel with not to such an extent, because I am slowly getting better, but like me and Young Link have not clicked in this game. But considering the other characters I like are Little Mac, Bowser Jr., and Kirby. Kirby's kind of playable, but Little Mac and Bowser Jr. are both two of the worst characters in the game by most people's, you know, admission. Everybody's pretty good in this game though, so like not trying to get too tier list heavy here. But I was like, well, Young Link's a character that people are saying is good, who I really like. He'd be in my like top 5 favorite characters for this game. So I'm going to try to get good with them, and I just don't click with them. I've gotten better just with a lot of practice, but some characters just click with, other times they just don't.
I also see some missed potential in the roster where, like, Young Link should have had Fierce Deity Link as his final Smash.
So one reason why I'd really want like the champions as a character is because it would be really cool to represent all the different races of Hyrule in a character. I think that's just really cool.
But I think
that Young Link always had the potential with the masks to do the same thing. He could have been a Goron, a Zora, and a Deku, and that would have been really cool.
How about Breath of the Wild Zelda summoning each of the champions in her attacks?
That would have been great too. I would have been totally up for that.
Like
using the Sheikah Slate?
Maybe using the Sheikah Slate, and like so like her up special would be Rivali's Gale. And like you would see Rivali behind her, almost like a stand from JoJo. like they would just appear like slightly transparent behind her in the attacks.
Yeah, I'd be so
you'd have like Rivali's Gale as the up special. The regular or forward special would be like the Urbosa's Fury, and so it might just shoot out like long ways, almost like a projectile, but it take like almost like Pikachu's Thunderbolt or Jolt or whatever, where it travels along the ground, except take the regular down B Thunder and minimize it to that size, so it's like a tiny thunder constantly going like across the screen. I'm trying to remember the other two. There's Mipha. Mipha's great. It gives you health, right?
So
I can see it being similar to like some kind of mix between like Wii Fit Trainer's down special or like Robin's down special.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, where
like healing moves. I feel like because all the healing moves in the game are always really minimum. I feel like in playtesting they must know that healing moves might get broken really fast. So
I can see Mipha's Grace being used as like, even if it's a temporary buff, like how Shulk can change like his stats. I can see like a temporary
super
heal.
Armor.
What?
It could be like super armor.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, that would be Daruk's thing. Would almost certainly be super armor, though, right? Because it is a shield.
It can also act as a counter. Where
it could be
where he like that red shield will appear once you counter, and it like knocks you back because
he like comes out
and he's like, rah, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess
Mipha would be the tough one.
I guess so I guess up B would be Rivali, down B would be what was his name? The Goron?
Daruk.
Yeah,
Daruk,
I think.
Yeah.
Forward B would be Urbosa's Fury, and I guess regular B would be
Mipha's Grace.
Yeah, and it would probably work as a buff. I can also see it healing you, like back down to 0 temporarily, and then it coming, then your damage coming back, but with extra damage. So it's like
I like that.
So it's kind of like a temporary relief, but then like after a short amount of time, it's more damaging to you.
I think as long as it has a cooldown.
Yeah,
a decently lengthy cooldown,
and you
could press it, and then for 5-10 seconds, you're at 0%, and like, you're back down to 0%. But then when you jump back up to full percent, all that percent that you've gained since 0%, gets added back on or something, and then you get a cooldown.
Like if you had 20, it goes down to 0 and then comes back as 40.
Yeah, if you get hit for another 20, yeah. And then you wouldn't be able to use it for a little while again, I'm
just wondering how that works when you take like 100, then it'll throw you up to 200. So it's like early on when you're taking damage, it's useful, but later on when you're taking damage, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see like almost I could see sudden death being really cheap.
Yeah, see, I think that's always the tough thing with healing moves is that if you can heal too much, if you can camp somewhere or like in doubles, like there's a lot that can happen with healing stuff. If they were,
unless you're like
really heal you,
unless it works like, how Cloud you could charge your limit break, so maybe it works like that where you charge like the quote unquote charge is your health slowly recovering, but you're standing there wide open. And instead of like being able to quickly roll out of it, there's like a cooldown. So you really have to be far to use it. Otherwise,
it would have to be it'd have to have a lot of end lag.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to balance it. Like even Nosferatu, like you don't gain a lot of HP back. So I can see Mipha's...
So maybe it would go really slow with the healing.
Yeah, I could see it almost like as if you were using the like the great auto heal as a spirit, where like every couple of seconds you gain like 1 HP back. I could see it similar, maybe like while you're using it, you gain like 1 HP per second. It's like that slow because a second is a long time, especially when you're doing nothing.
Match, yeah.
In Smash, yeah. So like imagine like you knock somebody away. And while they're flying away, you start using it. By the time they come back to you, you've only probably healed maybe 3-4%.
Yeah, and I also feel like a character that does have a move that is just like heal themselves. I think as long as you were to balance them by making them like pretty frail, like they get knocked back pretty easily.
Well, Zelda's not a fighter, so she herself would be weak.
Right.
Or Breath of the Wild Zelda, per se, to clarify. So Mipha's Grace wouldn't be too cheesy with her if she's weak, So, I think it would work at, like, let's say, 2 HP per second heal ratio, healing speed, but she's easily knocked back and probably takes more damage than other characters do from hits. So it's kind of like, yeah, you can heal a bit faster, but you're taking more damage too. And healing is also kind of difficult, especially in the, you know, when the battle's crazy. So
Yeah.
I think they can balance it out. You know, I think
Yeah,
they
it
can
would
find a
all
happy
be
medium.
about, you know, playtesting it until it clicks. I think it's implementable, but you'd have to playtest it.
Yeah.
And then it would be cool for, I don't know, smash attacks or something. If all the B moves are the champions, but she has the Sheikah Slate, you could do like.
Well, you know, the final smash is going to be like on top of Hyrule Castle, and the four
Great Beasts or whatever
the
they're
four
called.
great beasts like shooting the blast.
Whatever.
Kind of
Yeah,
like
that would be
K
great.
Rules, where like it takes you onto that like the Donkey Kong Island. You shoot. It's like you're on Hyrule, the roof of Hyrule Castle or whatever, and then you see like each of the champions on their divine beast, and they each might say something like whatever they say, and then it just blasts the castle.
Explodes. It would be
That
pretty
would be
similar to
awesome.
Hero.
So make me in charge of the game. I can make new characters. Look at this.
I'm just trying to think of how you would implement, because the Sheikah Slate, you should have like, was it Cryosis and Magnesis? Like,
Oh, yeah.
like those got to be in there too. I'm sure you could do it with like
Well,
smash attacks or
the
something.
grab could be some kind of magnesis, maybe.
Yeah.
The dodge, you can use like Bayonetta's dodge and make it like the stasis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you could implement it in other ways, like
So,
you
like,
said. the
if you
Magnesis could be the
dodge-
grab.
Yeah, if you dodge at the right time, then like she actually pulls out the slate while she's dodging, and you freeze in place, and then instead of the clock, you see the circle meter that you, or I don't know, it would blink. It would do the blinking. Magnesis maybe for the grab, even though you're not made of metal, but
You could do Magnesis for the grab, and then maybe for one of the throws, like a block of ice like comes out of the ground and like hits them up or something, just
like
to get it in.
like the up throw, a block of ice shoots up from the ground and like makes you go flying up.
Yeah.
It could also be a smash attack, honestly, like just an up smash.
Yeah, it could just be the
Like, it could
doesn't
just be a mix of
necessarily
all of
need to
them,
be,
honestly.
part of the grab.
I mean, I can't even remember the other.
Yeah, what is it? There's a third
Was
one.
there a fourth one?
Yeah, there's four, because there's
Stasis,
one where
cryo,
do
whatever,
ice, there's one where you do
magnet.
magnet, there's one where you stop time, and
Then there's the
then-
bombs.
bombs. Yeah, it's bombs, which Link already has. So,
So I guess you can use bombs too, but maybe you, instead of using it as a down B, since that's going to be your whatever. Just like how Isabelle has similar moves assigned to different things, I guess.
like
or if
Villager,
she
yeah.
does. So I could see like maybe one of her grabs, like when you launch, like the launch itself would be like her putting a bomb down and then like it explodes. And like she's
it
like
could be a
covering,
different use of the bomb.
kind of
than,
like how when Peach's counter goes off and like Toad attacks and she's kind of like, you know, like ducking. I could see
Yeah.
like a grab
and the
like
bomb
that where a
explode.
bomb explodes. Even though the
Yeah, you can do something like
blast
that.
radius is huge, like she somehow doesn't get hurt by it.
Yeah.
You just see like the red shield around her from Daruk or whatever.
yeah, you could put that in there.
She's
just
like a
so
nice
she's, like,
mix,
she's
you know?
protected from it or something.
Yeah.
Or you could just, I mean, either way, I guess you don't even necessarily need to have bombs in there because, again, they're already in the game
Mhm.
with Link. But if you want to get them in there, you could definitely put them in. Like you said, with Isabelle uses like the Lloyd rocket, but she uses it totally different than Villager does. So
Does Link
there's precedent for it.
can Link switch between the cube and circle bombs?
No.
Okay,
You can
so
use
then Zelda
cube
can
bomb.
use the cube one.
There you go. There
Well,
you go.
you know, that's the one that would be placed on the ground that she
Yeah.
ducks when it explodes. But for some reason, the impact will be a lot smaller. Otherwise, it would be the deadliest grab that attacks like the whole, like everyone.
Yeah.
I really want to see this character now.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
a really
But I
cool
guess the
character.
only. I mean, the thing is, as long as you called it like Breath of the Wild Zelda or Zelda and Champions or something like that, I'd probably be cool with it.
Well, there's Link, Toon Link, Young Link. It could be what, Champion Zelda or something.
Champion Zelda. That's a
But
good
I don't
one.
think she was given that title though.
No.
Unless she's just called Princess Zelda. Because
Or
the other
that-
one is
the
just
other
called
one-
Zelda. Even
Yeah,
though she's
the
Princess.
other one feels more like it should be Princess Zelda, though.
Researcher
know.
Zelda.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's what she feels like, but I don't know if that's what you call her. Champion Zelda or Zelda and Champions. Something like
Sheikah
that.
Slate Zelda.
Sheikah Slate Zelda.
Although
my only
I really
issue
think
with this
Champion
character,
works. I think Champion Zelda works, even though,
she's technically not
because
a
she's
champion.
using the champions, so
Yeah.
it works because of her status and Link being her, like all of them being guards for her,
Yeah.
are considered champions. So
I guess my only major issue with this character would be the fact that we have 3 Links, and we have Zelda and Sheik, which is technically a second Zelda. And if we got a new Zelda character, if we got another, like...
I want to see Ganon.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd like to see, like, Ganon would be cool. We kind of have him as a boss
he's
now,
a
which is
boss
cool.
and a final Smash, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we would have a different Ganon, like the Pig Beast Ganon. And
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
they would
it
shorten,
is Big Beast Ganon, but
make
like
him a bit
old school
smaller,
classic Big Beast.
like Ridley.
Yeah, that would be kind of neat. Again, I guess if I had to pick a new Zelda character, though, I would probably try to do something like Skull Kid or Impa or even Tingle, just to have another actual different...
They could just bring the old Ganondorf back as an Echo Fighter or something.
Yeah.
Call him Twilight Ganondorf.
I mean, I was surprised he wasn't just costumes.
Yeah, where's costumes is like the easiest money maker. Just
every fighting game does it, and Smash doesn't do it. I'm so confused.
I don't understand. It's like the one fighting game where people really want costumes,
right?
Because
other fighting games, people don't care.
Costumes could kind of because costumes could kind of really turn these characters into different characters,
or even just different iterations of them
exactly.
from games, like Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess Ganon, like.
Yeah, because they do have different, even if it's the same iteration of a character, they do have different outfits throughout the games. Like Mario has 2 or 3 outfits.
Mario's even missing his like Fire Flower Mario costume in this game. If there's one thing Smash Ultimate kind of dropped the ball on,
he has his wedding outfit, right?
Yeah, he has the wedding costume.
I want Bowser to have his wedding outfit because that was a cool outfit, and Peach should have her wedding outfit too.
Yep, she has like a white dress, so she kind of does, but. Yeah, they should have the tiara and everything.
But, like, there's so much potential with a costume pack. Like, I would buy them. I bought the Mii costumes. Of course I would buy regular character costumes.
Yeah, and we got so many Mii costumes, and I really don't care that much about the Miis, but I care a lot more about costumes. Yeah.
Like, character costumes that even work as alts. Like, alt characters. Like, you have all the Koopalings. Like, I could see Zack for Cloud, and...
Yeah.
And that's just a skin, you know? I don't know if the voice, maybe the voice would be different.
Fighters, we have Elf and the Koopalings. Like, there's so many doors that are open in Smash, yet I feel like...
That they don't open.
As big as the game is, it still hasn't reached its full potential, which is why I kind of hope they just keep adding stuff to this game for years and years rather than just a new game, because I think that's the way to go. There's so much potential.
No. I think they have Fierce Deity Link as an alternate colors, but not as an actual costume, right? I don't remember.
Yeah, he's alternate colors. He's alternate colors, not another costume.
Yeah.
I mean, well, he's another costume, but he looks just kind of like it's weird. It's like that in between. They don't call him Fierce Deity Link, but he does have like face paint and stuff, so it's a little bit more than the average just like color change.
Right. Yeah, I think he doesn't have pupils.
Yeah, he doesn't have pupils and stuff. And he has, I think, like again, the tattoos on the face or whatever.
Oh, before we go, I've been meaning to say that I was waiting to say it for when Alpha joined today, but he didn't, and then I forgot to say it. But I finally beat all the challenges in Smash.
Oh, nice! Oh, very cool.
Yeah, the one I was like really struggled with was, at first I struggled with was the one to beat the final boss in World of Light without losing a life. And nice. I looked online for suggestions, and I basically found the setup that really works. I used Ganondorf, and I think I used a spirit that was really strong, so I used Soma Cruz, and then I either used Celebi, or it was like Celebi and another spirit, or it might have been the Celebi that took up the 3 spots, but basically the one that healed you. So like you know, as you're waiting for the bosses to attack you or whatever, you are healing. So it really helped, and I was able to do it.
Nice. Yeah, I've been playing. So I want to play through the one-player parts of Smash. However, I have, for my channel, been recording World of Light playthrough with my brother, and my brother he's like never around, never wants to record lately. So we were very slowly getting through it, but we've decided we're just going to get Geno, and that's going to be the end of that run. So once we finish recording that, which
that's like the end of the game.
What?
That's like the end of World of Light.
Yeah, we got to Geno. We just haven't beaten the fight yet.
Oh.
So
just Bowser with super armor, and you're good to go.
Yeah, we haven't even unlocked Bowser. We like beeline for Geno. So we got to beat that. But once we beat that, and I don't have to worry about recording it anymore, I'm just gonna like play one player Smash myself and beat World of Light myself.
Is your brother as into Geno as you are?
No. He only played Mario RPG in the last couple months, again, for the channel. This is the first time I played it.
I gotta play that. Still, I really want to. And
it's good.
I think that if we got Geno as a character, I'd probably be more inclined to play it, because I'd be like, all right, now I gotta play it, because I like Geno as a character.
That's one of the reasons to get a character in Smash, too, is that it just makes people go play their game.
Yeah.
Like way more.
If I had more time, I would play more games from characters in Smash, but...
Yeah. Oh, same here. I mean, there's so many games I like wanted to record for the channel or even just play, and it's so tough to have the time to do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we've talked for almost 3 hours, and
perfect.
Most of it was Smash Bros, because Smash Bros just makes us keep talking, and
it's an endless subject.
Yeah, and oh god. Well, I guess that makes up for not having an episode last week, huh?
There you go.
So, I was debating on the potential to record another episode this week just to have 2. But now, if we don't get to do that, I don't feel too bad, because this is almost 3 hours long, so. It's like whenever it's me and you, we just keep talking, because we're both like night owls, and it's like, if one of us has got to go, that's fine, but it's like, usually we're not in a rush, and we just keep talking. So,
gaming's a lucrative subject to, I don't know, keep talking about or something.
Especially when it comes to speculating for Smash.
Yeah.
So, is there any final things you want to say? Anything you want to tell anybody, or I don't
know? Not that I can think of. I'm PapaGenos over on PapaGenos. If you don't know the channel, go check it out over on YouTube, PapaGenos.
It's PapaGenos Pizza. Hey.
Yeah, there you go. Or get a PapaGenos Pizza. I'm happy with that too.
We should have talked about Pokemon, but
Oh yeah, we hadn't talked before that came out, but
we were just so into Smash. But
yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get on that subject when you're talking about Incineroar. Oh well.
Oh yeah, true. I don't know. Our brains were just on the Smash and turning our backs to any other thoughts that came in.
I guess, okay, I'll give my real quick, here's my thoughts on Sword and Shield. I was hoping for an open world Pokemon. I'm still kind of hoping maybe that's somewhere in the game. Maybe there's like a safari zone that you can walk around. Otherwise, I like the region, seems cool. I really like the starter designs so far. I like all 3 of them. It finally has my Zodiac symbol as a fire starter, so I'm going to get the bunny. I'm going to get Score Bunny. And yeah, I think the UK is a cool region to do, so I'm excited for it. It's not as much as I was hoping for. I was hoping Pokemon would take the big leap to like the Breath of the Wild thing, but don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Pokemon games. I play all the Pokemon games. I will definitely play this game, and I am very excited about it. So that's kind of where I'm at with Pokemon.
Yeah, I think the reason I didn't bring it up was because even subconsciously, as I forgot about this while we were talking about Smash, but 2 weeks ago when Eevee Sceptile was on, we talked a long time about Sword and Shield, so that's probably why I just, subconsciously
was like that subject's been
we already talked about it, but you didn't talk about it, so
yeah, it's all good.
So if you want, or any people listening want to hear our thoughts on it, and by our I mean mine, Alpha Stoutland, Wreck-It Ryan, and Evie Septile's thoughts on Pokemon Sword and Shield and the reveal from a couple weeks ago, then you could check out the previous episode with Evie Septile as the special guest. Otherwise, if you don't care, that's okay. You don't have to watch it. I won't cry. Oh, God! But yeah, I guess that's about it for today. If we don't record again this week, that's okay, because it's just 3 hours long.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, so as usual, the links are in the description. I was going to say the descriptions are in the description. I would hope the descriptions are in the description. But yeah, the links are in the description. As I say this all the time, if you follow my Comic Spirit Legends on Tempest.io, you will get a shout out from me, but you'd have to let me know if you did follow it, because so I know who to say. But it should say like who followed it in the app itself for me. So, but anyway, that's it. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
Great, everybody.
Bye. Me, podcaster.
There you go.